Warning: mature content. The following stream contains content that may not be suitable for all audiences, including mature themes, strong language, and potentially sensitive material. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, J-Bone Nation! Shaming of Jay. He's not a dopey dumb bitch. He gets laid. The court jester, the court DJ. It's time to dive into the case. To the case.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, babe. How was your dog walk?
Oh, well, first of all, why is my microphone way over here? That might be better if it's over here. I didn't have to walk this morning because the two little Jack Russells that I am taking care of, they are old AF. And so, so they're old. And so I just get to go and they have a little doggy door. So I open the door for them and feed them. And then I just get to cuddle them. And we watch Game Show Network together because they're old.
So if you don't know, Babe has her own channel, which I have tagged in this at Mindful Crime Couture. And she is working on her newest video, which is how long, Babe? And what is it about? Tell the folks.
Okay, so sorry. So if you've been following me, then you know that I started doing chapters of Wendy's book like an eon ago, and I haven't done the second installment. And so I have the second installment done, which I decided, I felt like the first installment was too short because I only did a couple chapters. So this time I did 4 chapters of Wendy's book that I analyze, but now this video is way too long in my opinion. So now I feel like I need to chop it into 2 videos because it is an hour and 20 minutes long.
Hey, One for the Road says, just found the channel. Love you, Jay. Welcome aboard. Babe, how long? Did you say how long the video is? Because I want to ask the folks, because I know they love your content. Maybe they don't think that your video is too long. What's the full length of the video?
1 hour and 19 minutes and 34 seconds.
So what do you guys think? 1 hour and 20 minutes should be. She already told me. I said I was going to ask, and she said, you can ask, but I'm going to do what I want to, which is her right. Do you think 1 hour and 20 minutes is too long? Should she cut it in half?
Because I think that people will say, they're nice, so they'll just be nice to me. And be like, oh, no, it's okay. I'd watch you for an hour and 20 minutes, which some of them, I know a lot of you would. But it's long. I'm annoying myself by around 40 minutes. So I feel like I need to chop it in half. And I'll still post both halves.
I don't know. Seems like the chat, is this real? Chat is it's chat saying not too long, babe. I don't know.
Okay. Gus asked why this breed of dog has real names, which is so funny because these dogs are named Annie and Cormac, which are real names. While they're doing that, while they're saying this, I just have to tell you about this story about these 2 dogs. This is the funniest thing. I'm sorry, it's very quick. Okay, so Annie and Cormac, when they were younger, they're brother and sister. They're not from the same litter, but they're from 2 different litters of the same parents. We live near these dogs, and we also live near a bus stop for Suffolk County. And these dogs one day get out of their dad's house, and they literally go to the bus stop and follow a dude onto the bus. And their owner says they have been chasing that high ever since. Can you imagine you're just sitting there and then 2 dogs just board the bus?
No, I can't.
I feel like it should be a children's story. Anyway, that story makes me happy all the time.
The resounding chat here is do it 120, and I agree with that. But Babe will make her decision.
Okay.
I say she sets it up as a premiere, and we can all chat and watch it at a time that other folks aren't live, and I think that would be a good idea. So welcome in everyone to our continued rewatch of the Charlie Adelson's trial. And who's today's witness? Wendi Adelson. So we're gonna watch that, but before we do, I want to give a little update on my job search. The job for the social media job was denied. However, the other job I went to, which is back in insurance, working for a defense firm, looks like they will be putting in an offer to me shortly, and I would start, looks like, the day after Labor Day, which means next week would be the last week I'll be able to do lives during the day, which means obviously I won't be able to cover Donna's trial live during the day. But as I've said before, I am going to do rewatches of pertinent information, and like if I do a rewatch at night, I don't have to watch the objections or whatever. I don't know. I'll still be covering it. I just won't be able to do it live during the day. But I was thinking about this, both offers, and I got because of people who watch the show. And Catherine was the person for the job that I will hopefully get this job. So I have to thank her and thank the person who reached out to me for the other job. It was really kind, and this community once again comes through. So, I'm not looking at it as a failure. It's just a bump in the road for me potentially doing this full time in the future. But in the end, my job is to take care of my family. And while I was getting a little emotional when I went there because it was like the same route as Geico. I have to get in my head, this is not the same job as Geico. It's not a corporate, it is a real, legit firm and everything, but it's not like corporate America Geico where I'm going to be fucking monitored. I mean, the manager, the attorney, the partner that interviewed me was in shorts, and it's only one day of in the office. So, and the job that he is kind of a good job he's creating based on my strengths of what I was good at, and one of the things I was good at. So, I'm just gonna not look. It's just I'm gonna keep streaming. I'm not getting rid of the channel. I'm gonna keep doing what I do on nights and weekends. Yeah, and I guess that's it. So I just thank you all you guys for your support. I didn't I didn't say it, talk about it much, but I have to say it's been kind of stressful doing this because every month I would have to pay the bills, the mortgage, the insurance, medical bills, all the bills. Child support, and I would just continue to see the money I took out of my 401k decrease, and it's like I can't. This is because just this gig is not a steady income like I was used to. It's so anyway. I want to thank you all for your support. It means everything to me. Again, to have this opportunity this quickly, but also someone reached out to me. Also, who is a subscriber, someone who watches, and said they might need help, maybe more of a freelance thing with social media. So I'm talking to them on Monday, or maybe a part-time gig in addition to. So I'm open to that. If anyone has a freelance job where they want me to help, I think I've gotten pretty good at making shorts and reels and stuff for TikTok that hits and can get a lot of views. So if anyone's looking for a consulting freelance type deal, I am open to that. I'm not. I am a hard worker. I am not object is not the word I'm looking for, but I'm not opposed to working hard and doing stuff. So just because I have a full-time job doesn't mean I can't do freelance stuff where I continue to learn social media. And I'm missing all the posts here. I'm sure they're all very nice. Lisa, gifting a membership. Thank you so much, Lisa.
I just haven't said anything about this, so I think I should be able to talk for a little bit about this. When I very first moved to Long Island, and when I very first met Jay, he was basically feeling very, very stuck in his job at Geico because he had had so many years in, and he really didn't know, like, he knew he wanted to do something else, but he didn't know what he wanted to do. And he had a lot of regrets about, like, he would find himself talking a lot about how he got into this job right after college, and they like suck you in right when you're brand new, and you make some good money, and then you blink and you've been there for 10 years. And then you feel like, oh my God, could I do something different? And by the time 10 years has passed, you have kids, you have obligations, you have so many things that it's like, it's so scary to leave. And plus, we've had so many shifts within our relationship and with the kids. Like, I moved here with Sloan, so he had to get a bigger place. And we started having the kids 50% of the time. At the very beginning, we only had the boys every other weekend on overnights on Wednesday, and that's it. And now we have them week on, week off, which is amazing. It's so wonderful. But we have them more. So we obviously have a lot more expenses because they're with us half the time. And in New York, unfortunately, it's a crazy law in New York. And I don't know about very many other states, but if you are the money party, if you make more than the other party, you still pay child support, even if you have the kids 50% of the time.
And it's based on the most money you've made. So like
based on the most money you've ever made from the time you got divorced.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter if like you got laid off or you got because that could be that you're choosing to stay underemployed in order to avoid child support, which is not something that Jay would do. But I just wanted to make that clear as well, because we obviously have even more expenses. And when I moved here, he felt lost as far as like his purpose besides being a dad and being a husband. And those are, two things that he focuses on so much. But he's a very creative person, and it has like so much in him to give. And so it was really hard for me to sit and watch him be in that position of like just only living for us and not having something for himself. And when he found this channel and through doing these things, he is so much happier doing these kinds of things, because when he gets a note from y'all that is like, oh, you made me laugh, that makes his day. And it is so amazing because I feel like I found the love of my life, find his passion, and it's so freaking cool. And so I'm not upset about this job. And I know like he's a little bit upset, which I understand because he wants to put his every single second into this. But I'm so happy because he got this job because of this passion. And I just am so proud of him. And I'm so freaking happy because I know that like he's never going to give up on being able to stream full time. But the stuff that he gets to do now, like, is going to be even more valuable because it's going to be with his time that, he's working on his passion, not just his 9 to 5. And, I mean, of course, like there was never a doubt that like, if money was running out or whatever, that he would always like, I would never have to worry. He never allows me or the kids to worry about anything when it comes to like, oh my gosh, are we not going to be able to pay this bill or not be taken care of? Like he will go, work 3 jobs in order to take care of us if he needs to. So I haven't been able to talk about it. And I just never want him or anyone to think that I would ever think this is any sort of failure or even a setback for him, because I see this person like finding their purpose and becoming the person that they are meant to be. And I love it.
Oh, you're the best, babe. Wasn't planning on crying, but here we are. This is what it's like having the best, wife in the world, who is so supportive and has always been so supportive of me since we've been together. So it's I had to talk to her about doing this in the first place. Like, can we do this? Should I take money out of my 401k, etc.? And as you guys know, she's amazing and has always supported me so much. And I am, as I've always said, extremely lucky to be with her. And so yeah, that's where we're at on that. I won't delay the rewatch any longer. Thank you guys for all the kind words. Sorry, I'm not getting back to all of them, but we appreciate you guys so much. Again, I couldn't have done this. I couldn't have got this job without help from folks who watch this. So I really appreciate you guys so much and your support this entire time. Just for me to be able to do this as long as I did, I couldn't have without your support. So, but make no mistake, I am not stopping. I will continue to stream. I will continue to try to do panels. Speaking of, before I forget, next week, folks, I'm very excited about this. Babe and I are going to have on Dr. Joni Johnston, and we're going to talk about the Adelsons and enmeshed families and narcissism, etc. We had Dr. Johnston on as a woman who rocks, and she's just the sweetest, kindest, brilliant person, and we're really excited. So next Thursday at 7 o'clock, me, Babe, Dr. Joni Johnston will be discussing the Adelsons and enmeshment, etc. And what I think I'm going to do next week during the week, since it's my last week that I can live stream, I might do like more like full days of why are you looking at me?
I was looking at myself because I had a wild hair.
Oh. And when I say full days, I mean I have some stuff. I have some back to school stuff I have to do. Ethan has his follow-up with his orthopedist for his finger. The boys have orthodontists. So around that time, instead of like a witness at a time, I will try to get as much done as I can of the rewatch before I go back to work. But I can also do rewatches at night too. But nonetheless, thank you all for your support. And before Wendy starts her testimony, who comes up and talks? Her attorney. And for folks who don't know, her attorney is John Lauro. And for folks who don't know who John Lauro is, he also has represented Trump in some stuff. Not that we're going to get political, just a fact of the matter. This guy is Wendy's attorney this entire time. Probably better than Rauschbaum. And he also has represented Trush. I don't know how good he is, but apparently he's like a big deal. Just got a $10 Venmo from Joanne. We are the lucky recipients of your gifts, Jay. Oh, thank you, Joanne. That was so kind. Thank you. Dr. Johnson does look just like Ashley Judd. That's true.
He does.
Good afternoon.
Here comes Lauro.
Your Honor, very briefly, we filed a motion to put on the record that Ms. Adelson is here pursuant to the subpoena.
Yeah, when I get to it.
Refers use and derivative use immunity on her. But for that subpoena, she would be asserting her Fifth Amendment rights, and we believe it was necessary just to make sure the record is clear on that.
Very well. I discussed it.
Pretty hilarious that he has to come in here and say she would have pled the Fifth. She would have not testified in her brother's trial if not for the fact that she's subpoenaed and has derivative. I mean, this man just walked in here and said, my client, the defendant's sister, would not have testified in his trial but for a subpoena from the state that gives her derivative and use immunity. That's what he just came up and said. She wouldn't have been here for her brother otherwise. I mean, what does that tell you?
Parties yesterday, I believe, neither the state or the defense, you had no position concerning this. Is this correct?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear
You had no position concerning the non-party motion?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Lauro, in considering this motion, I will allow you to make your statement. I believe the state has confirmed that the testimony will occur pursuant to a grant of immunity. They cannot pull the rug out from under your client's feet, but I will allow you to make your statement.
And in light of that, there's nothing further I need to do since I put it on the record, if Your Honor will accept it.
Very well.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sit down, you jabroni. $25 Venmo from Kara S. Thank you for all the FOIA content and that all you are doing. Oh, God, I forgot to talk about tonight at 8 o'clock, guys. I set up a live, which is after Bob's live, which is going to have Tellus testifying, so you're not going to want to miss that. I have the portal going to Bob's live. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to go over the police report and the narrative that specifically that discusses what Amy Adler told the police, what Robert Adelson told the police, and also the written statement from the Best Buy guy. And I'll go over some more of the narrative. So tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, going to go over that police report. And thank you so much, Kara. Rachel B., $10 Venmo. Stop for your fave drink your first morning on the new gig. Rachel, that was so kind. And then a $20 Venmo from aspiring court reporter Sarah. Congrats, we are ride or die, and we'll be on this journey with you. I know that's so true, Sarah. You're the best. Thank you so much.
Do we have anything else to address about it?
No, sir. I just wanted to have a recess to see if we can do anything about the feedback that's happening in the courtroom.
That's a good idea. Courtroom, do not discuss your testimony with anyone else until you're called.
And then, should I watch just the video on her in the gallery? That's so funny. They have just
look at her breath rate increasing.
They just have her, and they. By the way, for folks who have asked, that the person next to Phil there is not fancy. That is not. In the last live, someone asked, "Is that fancy?" No, that is not fancy. But there's, I think, Katie right behind her. Imagine you're sitting right. She's right in front of Phil. Right in front of him. Thank you all so much for being here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Can you guys just think about... it hurts me, but just think about when she's going to testify in her mother's trial. I mean, her brother is one thing, but her mother, can you imagine she's going to testify? Oh, man. Is she going to wear this outfit? Is she going to wear the same outfit?
Mike, are we good on the microphones?
Good morning, Jen. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
And babe, I feel like last time I just talked all the time. Anytime you want me to pause, you just let me know. I know people want your input as well. More than me. Good Rashbaum. Always so jovial. The Rashinator.
He was always chummy with Georgia and Sarah.
Yes, he really was. Man, that's quite a height difference between
Harley's tall.
Yeah, he's like 6'3", right, or something?
Yeah.
Oh, Kim. I just got a Venmo from Kim F. I never know if people want me to say their names. Long-time lurker, first-time posting donor. Appreciate the authenticity and dedication to the channel. Kimberly F., thank you so much. Thank you. We love, by the way, if you're a lurker, we appreciate you very much. We know you don't chat, but if you like are inclined to, again, this is the best chat around. Say hi. People will welcome you in. But if you want to lurk, that's fine too. Thank you so much, Kimberly. There she comes.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? You may be seated.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Ma'am, please say and spell your name.
Wendi Adelson, Wendiadelson.
Where are you from?
Oh, and again, guys, I've said this each live, but if you're new to this case and you have questions, please feel free to ask myself, Shannon, and a ton of people in the chat know a ton about this case. So please, if you have any questions, we're here to help you. That's the point of this.
Ms. Adelson.
I'm originally from Coral Springs, Florida.
And where do you live now?
I currently live in Miami.
How are you employed?
Now kind of part-time. I do asylum work, and I fundraise for nonprofit organizations.
Are you an attorney?
By training, yes.
Okay. How long have you been a member of the Florida Bar?
Since I graduated and took the bar in 2006.
Kathy R with a $25 Venmo. Thank you, Kathy. Says enjoy the show. Thank you. And again, if you want me to say your YouTube name instead of like put that in the message if you do say anything. But thank you, Kathy R.
And are you here today pursuant to a subpoena?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And that subpoena confers use and derivative use immunity to you, so nothing you say can be used against you in the future.
That is correct.
Okay. That doesn't mean you have full immunity from prosecution, but nothing you say here and nothing derived from it could be used in that prosecution. Is that your understanding?
That is my understanding.
Did you know Daniel Markel?
Yes.
How did you know him?
We were married.
When did you meet Mr. Markel?
We met in the fall of my second year of law school, so fall of 2004.
And where did you meet?
We met in Washington, D.C. He was working there, and I was looking into a summer job in Washington.
And when did you get married?
In February of 2006.
And when did you live here in Tallahassee?
We lived in Tallahassee my third year of law school, so from August of 2005 until I think around maybe May or June of 2006. And then we moved to Miami for a year because Danny was interested in working at the University of Miami. Mm-hmm. He did not get the job at University of Miami, and so we moved back here in 2007 and lived here until 2014.
And where were the two of you employed during the time you lived here in Tallahassee?
I was employed at the FSU Center for Human Rights, and Danny was employed at FSU Law School.
Were you both professors at FSU College of Law?
Yes.
And
so real quick, so yes, as they went over, she has use and derivative immunity. That means they can't use anything from this testimony against her, or like derivative means like derive, get anything out of this testimony. However, like someone like Jeff Lacasse, if he testifies, that can be used against him. You know, the police officer who said that she drove by the crime scene, that can be used against her. But specifically what she says can't be used against her for her testimony. So that's, and I think that's for maybe all state subpoenas. I'm not sure. Babe, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say that Allie pretty much made it seem when she was on our show the other day, or on your show the other day, that there's a lot of ways around use immunity if, you know, you want to bring something up during the prosecution of the person.
Yes. Whoops.
So it's not anything like full immunity.
Were
where
you living?
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
It's not anything like what we see in, you know, law and crime shows where it's like full immunity and you're not going to get stuff used against you, because they would have to prove that they only found out from Wendi, but they have this whole investigation that they're also doing. So it's easier for them to get around prosecuting her and still using some of the things she says against her in certain ways.
On Trescott Drive at that time.
When we were married, we lived, I think we rented a house before that, but at some point, maybe in 2008, we moved to Trescott Drive.
And is that the home that he was still living in at the time that he was killed?
That is correct.
Okay, and you were no longer living there, is that correct?
I was no longer living there.
All right, at the time he was killed, you two had children together, yes?
Yes.
And how many children did you have?
We have 2 children.
And what are their ages now?
They are 13 and 14.
What about at the time of their dad's death?
At the time of their dad's death, they were 4 and 3.
When did you separate from Professor Markel?
In the fall of 2012.
Whose decision was it to separate?
It was my decision.
And was part of the reason for the separation the two of you having differing views on how to raise your kids as far as within the Jewish faith?
I mean, it was a small part, but it was part of it.
Okay, that seemed to be...
First lie, we wanted to ask, that was a big part. That was a major part, right, babe? So someone asked, when's the first lie? And there it is. I don't think she's lied yet, but that's the first one.
Something that came up a lot in your communications, so that's why I ask about it. What was the difference of opinion on that?
I mean, when we first met and started dating, Danny wasn't as observant or as religious as he became over time. And so the difference in our perspective on raising kids was about dietary choices and attendance at synagogue, things like that.
So in general, he wanted to raise the children more strictly in terms of the faith than you.
That is correct.
Did you move out of the marital home while Mr. Markel was away on a business trip?
I did, yes.
All right. And did he know that you were moving out when he left for the business trip?
No, he did not.
Where did you go when you left the marital home?
I rented a home in Tallahassee.
Where was that? Do you remember the address?
Aqua Ridge Way.
3303 sound right?
That's right.
Okay. And what was the custody arrangement once you moved out of the marital home?
I mean, in the beginning, until we had a formal custody arrangement, we were just finding ways to share custody. I remember that first weekend his parents came, so I made sure he had the children all weekend while his parents were visiting from Canada. But eventually we had a 50-50 shared custody arrangement.
All right. And do you remember exactly what that looked like? Was it week on, week off, or something more complicated?
It was something more complicated. In the summertime, it was week on, week off. During the weeks, it was I think what they called like a 2-2 split, with Wednesday night being an overnight and then the weekends being every other weekend.
All right, but roughly 50-50.
50-50, but that was the split.
Okay. And I want to show you what's been introduced into evidence, State's Exhibit 56. I know you've had a chance to take a look at this before, but if you'll just kind of thumb through it and tell me if you recognize it.
Sure.
There's that divorce file, the white binder. All right, I've added a lie counter. Remind me to update it.
It's really hard with a lie counter, though,
Do you
because
recognize the
something
exhibit?
I do.
that Wendi does are these like half truths where it's very vague. Like somebody earlier was saying, wait a minute, I thought she met him from JDate, the dating app. Yes, she was in Washington, D.C. looking for a summer job. Yes, Dan lived in Washington, D.C., but they didn't like run into each other. They did meet on JDate. She did confer with Donna about him and his profile from JDate. So, you know, like she left that part of the story out. And then just like somebody saying, like she's saying, oh, that first weekend, but then she qualifies as that his parents came. I let him have them all weekend. So that wasn't the first weekend that she moved out, because we know that she didn't let him see the kids for, you know,
Several
I think
weeks.
it was like almost a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like he was going to file a motion that she kidnapped them,
Yeah.
basically.
Good call.
Is it a fair and accurate copy of your divorce file?
It looks like it, yes.
All right. And is it fair to say this was a contentious litigation process that you had with your ex?
It was.
And I want to ask you about a specific filing in there. It's begins on page 43. And it's in reference to a filing on January 14th of 2013 where you were looking to relocate with the minor children. Do you recall that particular filing?
I recall the filing. You said 43. I'm not sure I'm... Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am. On the bottom, there should be page numbers for
So it
you.
should be 2 lies?
Yes.
For relocation?
I recognize it.
Okay, and that's the filing in reference to your motion for relocation?
Yes.
Okay, and did you file this motion with the intent to not be successful?
I'm sorry, I don't
It's
understand
been
the question.
suggested that you never thought that was going to be successful. Did you?
I
Or
think
not?
I thought there was a small chance that it would be successful, but not very likely, no.
Okay.
again, I said this yesterday, that makes me so fucking mad. Like, it's almost like malpractice for a lawyer. She's a lawyer. She has, I mean, it's not malpractice, I'm sure, but she's a lawyer. She has her lawyer file a motion in the courts that she's like, it probably won't win. I don't give a shit. That would have had witnesses. It potentially could have had witnesses, and was a pleading.
They had a trial date for it set, and they had witness lists that they had produced. And, she was not representing herself. So every single hour that her attorney spent, she was paying like upwards of between, I think they said $500 and $800 an hour. So it's beyond ridiculous.
Let's go to lie number 3. There we go.
And weren't you thinking, well, maybe Danny would be happy working somewhere else because he's mentioned applying elsewhere, so maybe he'll
close your mouth, Satan.
Were you
well,
thinking
he and I talked about the relocation. So when we talked about it, he thought, well, if I can live nearby in Miami, that might work, and then I could commute to FSU. I didn't mean for him to leave FSU, but he wanted to leave FSU at some point, so that was just a matter of time.
So you thought it might be successful?
Sure. I mean, I thought it was possible, but not likely.
All right. And page 46 of that document, paragraph E, references the job offer. The wife also desires to relocate to South Florida in order to provide a better quality of life for the children by increasing their access to close family and providing more stability and consistency. Who is the close family in South Florida?
The close family would have been my mom and my dad and my brother.
And which brother is that?
My brother that's here today.
Charlie Adelson?
That's correct.
Okay. What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Donna.
Donna Adelson?
Yes, that's her name.
What about your dad?
My dad's name is Harvey.
And where did Donna and Harvey live back in the time frame between 2012 and 2016?
They lived at the home I grew up in Coral Springs.
And how far do they live away from you currently as we sit here today?
Currently, depends on Miami traffic, but anywhere between 15 minutes and an hour.
Right. And what kind of a relationship do you have with your parents as we sit here today?
I have a good relationship with my parents.
And has that always been the case?
I would say so.
Can you describe the relationship that your mom has with your boys?
I think it's very loving. I think she's a very dedicated grandmother.
She spends a lot of time with them, doesn't she?
She does, yeah.
And when they were little and you first moved there after Danny's death, how much time was she spending with them?
When I moved there after Danny's death in 2014.
How much time was your mom spending with the boys?
I mean, we were all living together at that point. So, we were spending every day together.
How were your parents employed? Are they retired now?
They're retired now.
What are they retired from?
My dad was a dentist, and my mom used to coordinate, kind of be like an office administrator at his practice.
And did she write the checks at the practice, paychecks?
Yes. Mm-hmm. She handled all the bookkeeping.
What was the name of the practice?
The name changed over the years, but probably the name when they retired was the Adelson Institute.
And were your parents wealthy at the time that your husband was murdered?
I mean, my parents worked their whole lives to support us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the business did well for a period of time.
About $2 million.
Yep, lie 4. She can't fucking admit she knows her fucking parents were wealthy. I mean, they worked for their lives. Yes, they're rich, but she doesn't want to say it. Rich enough to have cash on hand to pay Hitman.
Profit each year between 2013 and 2016. Sound right?
They never talked to me about money, so I have no idea how much the business made at any given point.
Did you discuss your marital problems with your mom at all?
I did, yeah.
Okay. What about the resulting
legal
legal
look, there's
issues?
Jared. There's Jared Ross in the back there.
Was your mom read in on those things?
I mean, I definitely updated her about the results of the relocation when that petition got denied, but not kind of the ins and outs of every part of our divorce.
What about your dad? Was he invested in your divorce status?
I think the same as my mom, just worried about me and worried about the boys.
Mm-hmm. What about your brother? Did he take an interest in the ins and outs of your divorce?
No, not really.
Lie 5.
to protect you from Dan Markel?
No, I mean, I don't think I need protection.
Were you physically in danger from Dan Markel?
No, I wasn't in danger.
Did the litigation revolving around the divorce and the subsequent issues that arose, did that impact your family back in South Florida?
I mean, only to the extent that I think they felt bad for what I was going through, but...
July 6th.
I'm going to show you an exhibit that I've marked as State's Exhibit 59.
She's
Sorry,
such
57,
a fucking
Your Honor.
liar.
You've seen this one before as well. Does that one look familiar?
I don't remember it, to be honest. It's from 10 years ago.
Take a moment to look through it.
Funny.
Sure.
It's so long ago.
You sit on a throne
When you're
of
done, I'll
lies.
let opposing counsel
You
take a
sit
look
on a
at it, but
throne
go
of
ahead and
lies.
let us know when you're done reviewing it.
A bald-faced liar.
Bobo, what's up, Bob?
All right, are those emails between you and your mother?
I don't think I responded. I think they're just emails from my mom to me. No?
Okay, mostly all from your mom.
Yeah.
Okay, and the email address says, I think it's something like Wendi Harvey. Can you tell from the content that it's your mom typing rather than your dad?
Yeah, the email's Donna Harvey, my two parents' names, so they've been married over 50 years, so they have a joint email address.
So adorable. They've been married 50 years, so they have a shared email address when they plot murders. It's so cute.
So it's from both of them.
Okay, so what I want to draw your attention to is page
So
2
what you're
of
saying,
that
Wendi, is
exhibit. That
What you're saying, Wendi, is if everything they do is together, your mom's guilty, your dad's guilty too.
Facts, babe. Facts.
first paragraph there above the word response. Did you have an opportunity to read that?
I read it real fast,
Kinda
but
scanned.
I can read it.
And what I want to draw your attention to is specifically the part that reads, your father has made numerous trips by plane for weekends and changing the patient's schedules around so he can continue to spend significant time with the children. Did you?
Are you objecting, Mr. Rauschenwald?
I just didn't hear it get admitted into evidence.
Judge, at this time I'd ask to move this exhibit into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
It's 57.
57 is admitted. Go ahead.
Thank you. So that paragraph, isn't that paragraph going into detail about how the issues surrounding your divorce and litigation is financially impacting in a negative way your parents' business?
That's what my mom says here, yes.
Okay, and it also says, additionally, this loss of income affects my family because my older brother, also a dentist, purchased the practice from my father in mid-July 2012. He has a monthly payment to make to my father based on the
Ah, yes, Alyssa R. bought me a coffee. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you.
sale of the practice. It isn't fair to him to have decreasing monthly income statements from the practice due to my parents spending so much time here in Tallahassee. So this is an argument that your mom is proposing, right, to help you, give you an idea of what might persuade the courts to allow the relocation. Do you agree with that?
Yes, that's what she was doing, yes.
Okay, and she's indicating that both your parents as well as your brother have suffered financially as a result of you not being able to relocate.
Yes.
Okay. And on page, do you have page numbers in the bottom right corner of your exhibit?
I have them in the top so I can see.
Okay, so well, let me look. Give me a moment. So it'll be the second email in your packet, page 1 of 3.
Okay,
Do you see that?
I see that page.
Okay, and there's a rest of your life highlighted or underlined in the center and in bold. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, right before that, it reads, however, the rest of your life and consequently Dad's, mine, and yes, even Charlie's will be affected by how well you can perform/act before July 31st. You need to be a good actress you can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. Who's Jibbers?
Jibbers, she's referring to Danny.
And what is...
$5 Venmo from Cynthia M that says for entertainment. Thank you, Cynthia.
Was
And
Jibbers a
Elisa
name
says
he went
she's
by or
making
just something you
coffee.
called him behind his back?
Right. Yeah,
Jibbers was a
Oh,
silly
I missed
nickname that I gave him during the divorce.
Let me just rewind that.
Jibbers, she's referring to Danny.
And was Jibbers a name he went by or just something you called him behind his back?
Jibbers was a silly nickname that I gave him during the
Lie 6. Jibbers was them being... 7, I'm sorry. Jibbers was them being assholes to Dan.
divorce proceedings when he was being pretty scary and threatening, and it kind of made me feel less scared of him.
Okay, so not something you called him to his face.
Lie 8.
But that was a word that was only used to describe him.
Yes, it was a nickname.
Okay. So in this, again, your mom is referencing how everyone's life is being affected by this relocation, including your brother, Charlie. Do you agree with that?
That is what she said, yes.
All right. Is your mom overprotective of you?
Yes.
All right. And is it fair to say she's, a little on the controlling side?
I don't think she's controlling, but she's definitely overprotective.
Lie 9.
Did she ever try to micromanage your life?
Maybe, yeah.
Did she have an interest in who you were dating and who you weren't dating and who you should be dating when you were single?
I think she was usually disappointed that I wasn't dating more.
Okay. For example, isn't it true that she would not let you drive to and from Tallahassee to South Florida?
Well, I used to drive before I had the boys, but they were young, and she preferred to come with me and give me some extra support.
So what would that look like if you were going to take a trip to South Florida? Would they come up here and get you, or?
No, sometimes I would go myself with the kids, but I was breastfeeding both of them, so it usually looked like me breastfeeding a child while I entertained the other in the Oka-Humpka rest stop.
10.
So
She acts like she was hanging her one breast over the freaking car seat and driving with the other hand. And we all know that that is unfreaking true. They were older than that. She was not still breastfeeding them. Give me a break.
And thank you to Katie F, who said, thank you for the... bought a coffee. Thank you for the amazing content. You keep me company while I work. Thank you so much, Katie.
It was helpful to have some backup.
All right, and so that time frame you'd be referencing is like the 2013 time frame? Because not around the time of Danny's death, you wouldn't have still been breastfeeding, would you?
If Lincoln was 3, no, I would have stopped maybe the year before.
Oh,
Okay.
you figured
So
that out?
maybe
Was it-
2012, 2013.
Okay. And wasn't it true that around the time of the death, they were still doing this practice where they would prefer to drive you to and from South Florida?
I mean, not every time, but sometimes.
Okay. And would your mom sometimes enlist your brother Charlie to convince you to do certain things in your personal life?
Can't really think of an example of that.
Well, dating Dave was a big one on some of the materials I had.
Yeah, people like Dave.
All right. And your mom really liked Dave.
Yeah, everyone liked Dave, but we were just friends.
Okay. Did she try? So she would try to get Charlie to convince you to date a certain person.
I don't think she was getting Charlie to convince me to date Dave. I think everyone liked Dave.
All right. And would she try to get Charlie to convince you to do certain things as far as your professional life? What jobs to take?
No, I don't
She
think
didn't
so.
do that. Would she try to get Charlie to do certain things like advise you on investment decisions?
Oh, that was
whether or
11,
not you
right,
were
babe? That was 11? Okay, sorry. Lie 11. Charlie obviously was involved.
gonna buy a house, for example.
Yeah, buying a house.
I don't think so. I don't remember that. Danny and I made that decision together.
Once you had left Dan and you were living separately, did you look into purchasing a home here in Tallahassee?
I did, yeah.
And did your brother Charlie convince you not to do that?
I don't remember him convincing me not to. The only reason why I didn't was because I was waiting on the money from Danny from the settlement, and he didn't pay it, so I couldn't afford the house.
And your mom didn't want you to buy the house, did she?
12.
That's not true. My parents were looking to buy a house in Tallahassee as well.
Okay.
Lie 13.
Strike. Generally speaking, does your mom manipulate the personal lives?
Oh, Barb, $20 super chat. Thanks for the great work. Best wishes to you from Kansas City. Thank you, Barb. Babe is from Kansas, for folks who don't know. Not Kansas City, but...
Of her children.
No.
Is your mom, like, if she's really upset about something
Oh, wait.
or worked
Hold
up...
on a second. I got to go back to that. Sorry.
Did she?
That's not true. He didn't pay it, so I couldn't afford the house.
And your mom didn't want you to buy the house, did she?
That's not true. My parents were looking to buy a house in Tallahassee as well.
I got that
Okay. Did you have... Strike. Generally speaking, does your mom manipulate the personal lives of her children?
No.
14.
Is your mom, like, if she's really upset about something or worked up about something, is that something that your brother Charlie's going to hear a lot about? Who's going to hear more of it, you or Charlie?
Well, if my mom's upset with me, probably Charlie. And if she's upset with Charlie, probably me.
Okay, so do you get a lot of that? Do you hear a lot about... Let's go back. Let's go to before the murder. Did you get a lot of Donna just giving you an earful about what Charlie needs to be doing?
Probably, at some point.
What was Charlie doing with his personal life? What did his personal life look like?
At what point?
Before the murder.
I mean, at what period of time before?
All of them. Wasn't it just a revolving door of girlfriends?
Right, but my mom didn't complain to me about that.
She didn't mind that with him.
I don't understand the question.
She didn't mind if he went from girl to girl to girl. That was acceptable.
She didn't really weigh in on it, no.
Who talked to her more, you or Charlie?
Charlie.
A lot more, right?
Yeah.
At the time of Dan Markel's murder, were your parents extremely angry with Dan?
At that point, no.
15.
They were in a much better place.
15.
I want to direct your attention to an interview
15
that
lies.
was conducted on...
We're not even halfway done with it.
I mean, maybe
This was your
16,
law
because there was
enforcement
two within
interview.
that where she was like, no, they weren't mad, and they were in a better place.
Yeah, that's 2. I'm going to go for 2 on that. Brian just bought a coffee. Thanks for the trial rewatch. Thank you, Brian.
So July 18th, 2014. And I'm specifically for court and counsel looking at page 27, lines 11 and 12. Familiarize yourself.
Oh, there's the police binder. That's blue. The divorce binder is white. The police interview binder.
Do you want me to flip through or just look at this one page?
If you'll just look at that one page for me, not that binder.
What Georgia is doing here is what I essentially did with the short. I don't know if I think it might be this one. She's like, she makes her lie, and then she pulls up her police interview. I wish they could really show the police interview rather than doing it this way, but through the transcript.
They will in her trial.
I hope so.
11 and 12, and I've got it highlighted for you.
Yes,
Says, Ms. Adelson, my parents are, very angry toward him. Is that true?
Was that
Isn't
true?
that what you said? Your parents were very angry toward Dan.
Can I read the rest of the sentence?
Sure.
So I say, my parents are very angry towards him, but even when they're around my kids, they would never say a bad word about my kid's father.
And then on page 288, line 24 through page 289, line 1. And that's going to be,
Good point, Marcus. They will. We got to speak it into existence.
it's like my parents. Didn't you say, it's like my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else? Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
And that's because he hurt you, right?
And I was saying that in the context of talking to law enforcement for hours and hours and trying to help them figure out who might be responsible.
Right. And who did you tell them might be responsible?
Well, I told them many, many people. But are you asking about this particular moment right here?
Many
You
people
told them your
could be
family might be responsible.
Or
didn't
potentially
you?
someone to do with a former student or his current girlfriend. I mentioned lots of people that I thought.
No shit, asshole, but you fucking mentioned your family. Normal people don't mention their fucking family, asshole.
Could be responsible.
Okay. And of the lots of people that could have been responsible, your family was one.
Yep.
Because they might have done this thinking it would help you. I mean, that's what happened, right?
Oh, this is the good part. This is a little bit of Wendy's mask coming off.
It would help you.
Or you could say maybe it's her mask still on. She would think that people would want her to be upset like this.
I mean, that's what happened, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Your family had your ex-husband killed to try to help you, didn't they?
No, that's completely untrue.
18. Lie 18.
I mean, Charlie's guilty,
And
so that's definitely an
back
18.
to the divorce, the petition where Danny is responding to your petition for the motion to relocate. Are you familiar with that filing, or do you need to take a look at it?
I need to take a look at it.
All right, it's going to be page 79 through 101, and this is back to our exhibit. The filing begins on page 79. Husband affirmatively, in this filing, doesn't Mr. Markel say, quote, the husband affirmatively alleges that the wife helped herself to non-marital assets, including money and stocks owned prior to marriage, as well as numerous personal non-marital belongings of the husband, such as luggage, bicycle, tennis racket, and family heirlooms. The wife has refused to return these items or to allow the husband into her home to see what other personal belongings were taken without his permission or acquiescence. So my point is, he's accusing you of theft in this paragraph.
Those are the words that are here, yes.
Yeah, and he's very adamantly objecting to your relocation, right? On page 82, it says the sole stated reason the wife seeks to relocate is so that she can be closer to her parents. Was being near your parents the sole reason that you wanted to relocate?
No.
It wasn't the sole reason stated in your petition?
It wasn't the sole reason stated in my petition, and it wasn't the sole reason that he and I talked about before I filed the motion to relocate.
Why was he so adamant and so confident that this was the real reason you wanted to be down there?
I think there's a lot of things in these pleadings that are not true, so just because it says something doesn't make it true.
Sure, but did he know that your mom was just grinding on this issue of trying to get you down there?
He would have had no idea.
He wouldn't have been, that wouldn't have been known to him?
I don't think so.
Yeah, right. 9.
But he was accusing you in these pleadings of all kind of stuff, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's true, but hiding financial assets, failing to disclose things, kidnapping his kids in the middle of, his business trip, all those sorts of things, right?
Yes, he said lots of things.
All right, and you said a lot of things too. There's filings going both ways that are pretty venomous. Would you agree with that?
I would not agree with that.
Yours were pleasant.
I'm not saying divorce filings are pleasant, but mine were not venomous.
20.
Okay. Did your mother, Donna Adelson, review the filing in which Dan Markella is accusing you of this theft and all this stuff?
I don't remember if she did.
What about the one where Dan Markel is asking that your mother not be permitted to have unsupervised visitation with the kids?
My mom never saw that because after he filed that, he then asked my parents to babysit the kids. And my mom baked him banana bread, gave him a hug goodbye. So there was nothing truthful about that pleading that he filed. And my mom never saw it.
You have to say 21.
21.
Because now that I have fully researched things about people who strictly keep kosher, that would not have been a thing. He wouldn't have okay, maybe she could have baked in the banana bread, but he would have just thrown it away. But anyway, I don't think she baked the fucking banana bread even.
Why do you think he filed that?
He was really angry at me for leaving him.
Okay, so he didn't really want to limit your mom's visitation with the kids.
No.
And
he
that's
asked for her
evidenced-
to babysit after he filed that.
Evidenced by the banana bread. And so she didn't
Georgia.
even know about that filing.
She never knew about it.
Okay. And when she laid all those options out in that email to you about other options that you could take to secure the relocation, as far as bribing, remember that? Converting the Christian children to Christianity, remember that suggestion?
I sure do.
Okay. What did she put in there that she viewed as your most non-negotiable and most important part of your divorce?
I don't know. Do you have something I can see?
States Exhibit 57.
Of the divorce for my mom.
Yes.
It says here that for her it was relocation.
All right. And did you have 2 8-hour mediations in your divorce?
We had 2 very long mediations. I don't remember exactly how long they were, but
I gotta tell you, that part always, like, can you imagine being after in a room with Wendi Adelson for 8 fucking hours? I want the I need, maybe it's in the divorce filings. I need the information on the mediator. I need to talk to them. Go ahead, babe.
Both of the mediators are in there. They're listed in there.
Yeah, I need
And
that. I need to call them.
the time is listed, how long it took. And both of those mediations, the only thing at the bottom was that, like, there's a choice between like a partial agreement, full agreement, and like basically absolutely no agreement whatsoever. And both of them were checked no agreement.
Did they
like a very
result
long
in a
time.
resolution?
no.
Was Mr. Marital seeking to depose your mom as part of the divorce?
I don't remember that.
Do you know if it ever happened?
I don't think it happened. I don't remember it.
Was the prospect of that upsetting to your mom?
I don't think so. I don't remember it, so I don't remember talking with her about it or...
Did your mom call Dan any disparaging names around this time frame?
Well, I just read them in the emails, but I
Okay.
don't remember them independently.
Okay. Did she call him an asshole?
Yes.
A narcissist? A
Yes.
bully?
Yes.
Religious zealot?
Yes.
Bastard?
That I don't remember.
Page 5.
Okay.
I gotta tell you, I keep, like, I know you guys know I'm like a child and I laugh at like stupid shit, like, but I gotta tell you, if my life was on the line in a murder trial, like, he's so confident that he's just laughing, like, this is funny to him. Like, I would be like, oh my God, this is terrible evidence against me. My mom fucking hated him and I'm part of the plot, but not Charlie. He's such a fucking piece of shit. Like, he's just such a narcissist and just doesn't, he really thought he was going to be found not guilty so much that he's just this is hilarious to him. This is funny in his murder trial.
Is it page 5 from the first email?
Yes, if you'll just go through by the physical pages.
Lily Flores, $10 super chat, best channel. Lily, thank you so much. Whoops.
I see. Yes.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Yes.
Fucker?
Yes.
But in all the filings made on your behalf by the different lawyers that you had, and all of the emails that your mom sent, he was never described as abusive.
I mean, he was described as emotionally abusive, yes.
Can you show me where he was described as emotionally abusive in any of those items?
Well, not by my mom, but in the pleadings.
Okay, show me that.
It's going to take me a while to find
23.
Okay, well, it's
You want me to
not in there, but you can get back to me
Well,
with
it is in there.
Objection, Your Honor.
Oh, I love what Georgia goes back on. I love it.
The comment. She's not testifying.
Hold on, please approve.
Got an approachal. Let's do I haven't done shots in forever. Got an approachal. Marcy says, I love the fact Jay can swear on this channel. This woman gets one under one's skin for sure. She is a criminal. Yes, Marcy, and hilarious. Someone yesterday, I don't know if I saved it as fan mail, but they're like, they said, stop cussing. So I just replied, no, LOL. And they replied, well, it was worth a shot or something. It was pretty funny. Yes, a reminder, while they do this, after this, I will be sending you to Bob's Live today on the Tellus trial. You're not going to want to miss that. Tellus is going to testify. His attorney confirmed it. So when we're done with this, I'll send you guys over that. Make sure you subscribe to Defense Diaries if you're not already.
Ms. Kappelman. You may Last comment by Ms. Kappelman. You may continue.
So would you have to review the whole file in order to find that, or could you give us a starting point of which filing it might be located in?
It might be under the petition to relocate. It might be under the initial divorce proceedings. Okay. It wouldn't be in emails from my mom, but it would take a while to find it. It might be in the depositions.
Okay. Did you view yourself as being stuck here in Tallahassee once the relocation was denied?
I didn't. I mean, I had a really nice life here. I did not view myself as being stuck.
24.
Would you please turn to page 170?
Oh, she's about to call her out right on it. I don't even have to explain why it's a lie. Here we go.
6 in that exhibit in front of you. I think it's highlighted for you.
You said it was highlighted, but there's nothing highlighted.
Okay. 176 for you. Okay. Just a moment. So did you describe, at least in one occasion, being stuck in Tallahassee?
No. Can I read the sentence?
Sure.
So it says, the husband has made it difficult for the wife with her colleagues at her current position due to his statements and actions, and the husband's intent is to relocate to a larger area at some point. So the wife is merely stuck in Tallahassee until the husband decides that the time is right for him to leave.
So it literally says she's stuck in Tallahassee, but she's like, can I read it because it doesn't say that. Karen Ferraro, super OG supporter, Justice for Danny. Thank you so much, Karen.
All right.
Meaning she super wanted to get out.
Had he accepted it?
She super wanted to get out that he, disparaged her to coworkers.
Oh, wow. Anita Daniel, $5 super chat says, member for 5 months, semi-chat lurker. Just wanted to know you're a hero. Someone who chases their dreams is a role model for all of us. Good job. Wow. Anita, thank you so much. That's so kind. And thank you for being here and being part of our community. Thank you.
A job anywhere else by the time that he was murdered?
No, he hadn't yet been offered a job, but he was always looking.
Okay. So he was just going to move and just let you have the kids at that point?
He probably would have done what I did, which is have a conversation and see if it was a place that made sense for both of us to live.
And would you have moved to wherever he got a great job and started a new life there?
Potentially, yeah.
25, okay. No fucking way.
Did you like Tallahassee?
I did.
26.
And you said, I think you did say this, but let me clarify. Was your mom aware of the order?
Guy, just for if you're new to this, she was out of Tallahassee within 48 hours, I believe, of the memorial for Dan after he was murdered. She fucking hated Tallahassee. She wanted the fuck out of there. She literally filed a petition to relocate. She is so full of shit when she says she likes Tallahassee. She wanted the fuck out of there. That's why this all happened. One main reason.
Order denying relocation.
My mom was aware of the order denying relocation.
And what about your brother, Charlie? Was he aware of that as well?
I'm sure my mom would have said something to him.
All right. So did your mom suggest any ways that you might coerce Dan Markel to let you move with the kids to South Florida?
Yes, I think we talked about that before.
We did. And for this, I'm referring back to those emails. And in particular, the bribe. So another bribe to get him to allow relocation. I'm on page 5 of the first email for the defense. Another bribe to get him to allow relocation should be the offer of plane tickets so that he can fly back and forth, right? So you were going to potentially offer this big monetary benefit that would allow him to fly back and forth to work. Is that the idea?
I never said that I was going to do any of that.
Okay, was that the idea that your mom had?
That was the idea.
All right, and the amount of the bribe is going to be, or was at least discussed as being $1 million. Is that right?
That is what they said.
Okay, and did you agree with that?
No.
Would that have worked?
I have no idea if it would have worked, but...
You think he might have taken $1 million to let his kids go?
Well, he wasn't letting his kids go. He would have moved to South Florida, and he would have commuted back and forth to his job. So
She knows full fucking well
Maybe.
he wouldn't. 27.
Well, then why wasn't it offered?
because I didn't want to do it.
All right, what about the idea that you could try to threaten Dan to convert the kids to Christianity so that they can fit into the Bible Belt here in Tallahassee? Is that something your mom suggested in these emails?
My mom did suggest that.
Okay, and specifically, this is on page 7 of the exhibit. Let Jibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church. Have a picture made of them in front of the church, all that kind of thing. That's what your mom suggested at one time.
She did, yes.
It's funny. She's kind of glossing over the details. It gets much worse than that for folks. That she suggests that the kids dress up in Hitler Youth. I mean, when Donna's trial comes, they're not going to be sparing any details about all the bullshit that Donna, all the awful piece of shit things that Donna suggested.
Okay, and did you do any of those things?
No, I don't even think I responded to it.
Do you know whether the defendant, your brother Charlie, was supportive of the plan to convert them or pose as converting them to Christianity?
I have no idea. I don't think he was particularly involved in this round of my mom's emails.
On page 11 of the exhibit, there's an indication from your mom that Charlie at least has discussed this with her and maybe is somewhat supportive. Charlie brought up a good point when he said that Americans were dropped behind enemy lines during World War II wearing Nazi uniforms to get what they wanted. They had a job to get done, and they did what they needed to do to accomplish it. You have a job to get done in a very short time frame to accomplish it. If you dressed your kids up in Hitler Youth uniforms and brought them down here, I could care less if it was an act of defiance that would show Jibbers that he's, all caps and bold, not in control. So it just seems like your mom was pretty extreme about this situation of getting you relocated. Can you agree with that?
Yeah.
All right, and Charlie was at least consulted on it or had offered some information about it.
Well, that was my mom's rendition, so I don't know if that's what actually happened or that was her perception.
Sure. Were you involved in the effort to consult a lawyer about the bribe and whether that was going to be legal?
I wasn't the lawyer consulted in that.
No. Were you involved in consulting a lawyer with your mom? Okay. Do you know for sure if any financial offer was or was not made to Dan Markel?
I couldn't say for sure if they made it to Danny without me knowing, but I don't think so.
Is that something they would do, is try to negotiate with him behind your back or deal with this situation behind your back?
I don't think so. I think I would have known. Danny probably would have told me.
But you definitely didn't extend any of these offers or threats.
No. Her family didn't negotiate about Dan behind her back, is what she just said.
Oh, so that's 29?
No, I'm just saying, like, they wouldn't do that without her knowing. They wouldn't offer him money without her knowing. Why would they murder him without her knowing?
The father of her children.
She was like, no, I don't think they would do that.
Great call, babe. Great call. Great call. Me
when
too,
was the
Sarah.
divorce final?
The summer of 2013.
All right, I'm going to switch gears for a minute and talk about phone stuff. Was your cell phone collected by the police in this case after Dan was shot?
I gave the police my cell phone and asked them to search it if it could be useful.
All right. And around the time of the murder, was your number 954-803-0079?
It was.
And can you agree that the numbers, let me show you an exhibit. 59, I believe. Yeah, so I talked a lot about converting to Christianity, but I didn't mention what religion you are. We talked about Dan being more religious than you are, but we didn't talk about what religion you are. So could you explain that to the jury, please?
Sure, I'm Jewish.
And Dan was as well, right?
And Danny was Jewish as well.
Okay. So I had this exhibit 59. This is not 59.
For folks who don't know, Dan proposed to her in Israel. She fucking knew. I mean, his whole, like, all of his friends talk about how religious he was.
She found his dating profile on JDate, which is only for Jewish people to meet and date each other.
Yeah, for her to, like, kind of assert that she didn't know how religious he was, or that it, like, she's so full of it.
Other people. Are those phone numbers accurate, if you know, for the time frame around the murder?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then you are also familiar with the wiretap that was conducted in this case?
Yes.
And did I provide you a disc labeled Disc 107, ask you to review some calls and see if you could authenticate the voices on those calls?
Yes.
All right, and for that, I made you a little spreadsheet, which I've marked as 61.
Oh, man, Donna White. $100 Venmo from the most... Donna is just so supportive, and it says new basketball shorts for the new job. Donna, I can't thank you enough for your support as always. You're the best.
Before you start, I love that one, and I hadn't caught it before. Georgia goes, okay, and for this, I've made you a little spreadsheet for the calls. For this, I've made you a little spreadsheet.
Donna's jury selection is 9/17, which should be a couple days, and then the trial will start. So less than a month.
Were you able to initial by each call indicating that the highlighted names are the voices of the people they purport to be?
Yes.
Judge, at this time I asked to move to evidence State 61.
Any objection?
No objection.
State 61 is admitted.
All right, and if we can shift back to, we talked about your divorce being final. Once the divorce was final, weren't there still a lot of filings that went back and forth between both you and Dan Markel?
Yes and no. The divorce was final. We had a final settlement agreement. Mm-hmm. The agreement was I take my name off the title to the house. He pays me half the value to the house. So for within the first week, I went and took my name off the title to the house, and I waited until October when he was supposed to get back to me. He never paid me the money, and so I called and I asked what happened. That was the deal, and he said, I have compelling reasons. I'm not going to pay you.
For folks who haven't seen me, I am not, talk about Wendi, I am not a body language expert of any sort. But when she gets to weird shit, when she gets to shit that's kind of like maybe a little questionable, she does all these weird hand movements. Pay attention. It could be nothing. I am not an expert. I'm just telling you from watching her a bunch of times. I mean, I know folks who've watched it with me know that I say this all the time, but she always has these weird hand movements at certain points. Maybe it's, I don't know. KTG, $10 cash app for digging the lie counter. Thank you so much, KTG. You're so supportive. Thank you.
Supposed to get back to me. He never paid me the money, and so I called and I asked what happened. That was the deal, and he said, I have compelling reasons. I'm not going to pay you. And so I made one filing, a motion to enforce the settlement agreement, because he didn't do it.
Right. So you believed that he owed you money pursuant to the settlement agreement.
Yes.
He was in violation of the settlement agreement.
Yes.
And he was...
Oh, shizzle. Nay, gifting 5 memberships. Nay, thank you so much. Welcome to all the new members.
Of the belief that you had withheld some financial things from your affidavit, and maybe he didn't owe you the money that you had previously agreed on because you had not been honest in the initial disclosures, right?
He accused my attorney of having unclean hands and committing a crime.
Yeah, and assisting you in withholding this money from the disclosures. Okay. All right, so I want to ask you about the motion to enforce marital settlement agreement and hold Dan Markel in contempt of court. That was filed, you may need to refresh your memory, October 31st, 2013. Give you the exhibit 56 and have you take a look at, this is going to be on 338. Title, the caption of that filing.
Motion to enforce marital settlement agreement and to show cause why the former husband should not be held in contempt of court.
What does it mean to be held in contempt of court?
It means not to be doing what the court has asked you to do.
What can happen to you if you're held in contempt of court?
I don't know, really.
Could you be
30.
jailed?
I don't know.
This lawyer doesn't
Could you be
know.
jailed? She doesn't know that either. That's 31. That's 2
31.
lies. She doesn't know, and she doesn't know if you could be jailed.
She's a fucking attorney. You're an attorney and you don't know what contempt means and what can happen. Ugh.
All right. And
Close
when
your
was
mouth.
this filed? This was you filing it, right? I mean, you're the client.
Right.
You're asking that he be held in contempt. And
I
you don't know
filed
what
this-
that means?
I mean, at the time I filed, which was 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, refresh your recollection with the
Okay.
document. Goes through 340.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and read it. Yach.
Thanks, Joseph.
Okay, I have it.
Okay. So, what was it you were...
And let me just say this. If you're new to this case, which I know some people in here are, you may be feeling a certain way. We all feel that way. There may be rage just building within you. Just accept. It's if you need if you're on blood. I'm not a doctor, but perhaps if you have blood pressure issues, you might want to take medication. We all, if this is your first time watching her, this may be stressful and you may be getting angry. It's normal for that. I just want to make that clear.
asking for in this
I
motion?
want to know what's jail.
What is this jail you speak of?
It was what I just mentioned. So basically, I took my name off the title to the house. He never paid. This was asking him to pay.
Cough up the money or be held in contempt.
Yep.
Okay. And what day was this filed?
This was filed on October 31st, 2013.
All right, so Halloween of 13, and that's the same day that you backed out of the contract to purchase the house in Tallahassee, right?
I don't remember
that?
what day that was.
Okay. Do you remember?
And also for folks who don't know, Halloween 2013 is the day Charlie asked Katie if she knows someone that can kill someone. So think about that. Charlie on October 31st convinces, I've done videos on this, convinces Wendi not to buy a house, and also at the same time is reaching out to Katie McBonow. Hey, this literal same date. They know it because they remember it's Halloween. Katie confirms it. I don't remember if Charlie did, but I mean, it's confirmed. This same date is when Charlie asked Katie about getting the hitman.
That it was your brother Charlie that specifically convinced you to back out of that particular house deal?
I don't remember that.
text message to refresh your recollection. Okay. And you may have to look around for context, but I'm specifically looking at this one.
Okay. Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Honestly, I mean, I can read what's here, but I still don't remember.
Don't
it
really remember. And after pulling the plug on the house, there were some emails where you were saying you can't answer the phone, you're crying too hard about the house. Like you seem genuinely upset about pulling the plug on the house, but now you don't remember it?
Well, it's been 10 years,
Sure.
So a lot of terrible things have happened since then. It's hard to remember.
Don't recall.
I really liked the house and was excited about it, but it was more than I can afford at the time. That's what I remember, is talking with the real estate agent and having her say we'd find another house, and it wasn't the right one.
Would you have any reason to dispute that occurred on Halloween of 2013?
No,
Shit, have I been missing lies? All right, 32. Sorry.
I mean, definitely 32.
Sorry.
I mean, plus like Jack would have counted the one where she started with, honestly, I don't remember. And then Georgia's like, oh, so you were crying, you were so sad, but now you don't remember?
Probably did. I just don't remember another house, and it wasn't the right one.
Would you have any reason to dispute that occurred on Halloween of 2013?
No, it probably did. I just don't remember.
Okay, and then a few months later, on February 14th of 2014, there was another filing. I want to draw your attention to page 379. I'm ask you what that document is.
Her husband's count. Do you want me to read the title of the document?
Yes, please.
Former husband's counter motion to enforce marital settlement agreements, financial provisions, and incorporated motion for sanctions.
Do you remember this filing?
I don't remember this filing, but in anticipation of my testimony today, I refreshed and reread it.
Okay, and he accuses you in this filing of breaching the marital settlement agreement in various ways, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and committing a fraud upon the court by omitting the $200,000 in assets from your financial affidavit.
That is what he was alleging.
And asked the court to sanction you.
Yes, that's what he said.
Okay, so again, you're both seeking the court to sanction each other. I mean, them's fighting words and lawyer terms, right?
Well, I was filing a motion to enforce a settlement agreement, so I don't think that's really fighting words. That's just asking the court to
33.
complete what it already said it wanted to do.
Okay.
Okay.
And on page 379, Dan suggests that the court send a strong message about your malfeasance by awarding him the entirety of the undisclosed assets of over $200,000, right?
That is what he asked for.
Okay, and then on March 10th of 2014, on page 437, do you respond with your motion to dismiss the former husband's counter motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement that we just talked about?
I'm sorry, what is the page number?
437.
I'm not familiar with this. But do you want me to read through it?
Could you read the caption aloud, please?
Sure. Motion to dismiss the former husband's counter motion to enforce marital settlement agreements, financial provisions, an incorporated motion for sanctions for failure to state a cause of action, and motion to strike as a sham pleading, and motion to strike as redundant, immaterial, impertinent, and scandalous pleading.
And then if you'll go to page 439, do you see a paragraph that begins, the vast majority of the former husband's motion?
Actually, don't see that. On page 439?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I've done a video on it, and I'll have to get it. But progressively, as the trials go on, Georgia gets more frustrated where she can't hold. Like the first couple of trials, she kind of like doesn't. This trial, she just can't hold it back anymore, and she makes it very clear how like she can't stand her.
I think I have it pulled out.
On number 8.
Yeah, the vast majority of the former husband's motion contains allegations that are redundant, immaterial, impertinent, and scandalous. Yada yada. He's making false and immaterial statements against you. His pleadings only prove that he is a disgruntled former husband who cannot move past this disillusion. So it's getting personal. Would you agree with that?
My attorney here is responding to his pleading, which was over the top.
And this is over the top, right?
I don't think so, no.
34.
Then 6 days later, Dan files another motion seeking action against your mother, and that's the one we've already touched on. That's page 441. Is that right?
Page 441.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's what we talked about.
Okay, former husband's counter motion for enforcement of marital settlement agreement on parenting issues and motion for contempt and sanctions. Here he's alleging, again, more violations of the marital settlement agreement, including communication between he and the boys. He wasn't happy with how much communication was happening, failing to keep him informed of where his kids are, failure to communicate about parenting decisions like the kids' schooling, diet, and extracurricular activities, and refusal to provide him access to the kids on their birthdays. So he's complaining about a lot of things associated with this, not just money stuff, it's parenting stuff too, right?
That's right.
And isn't it in this motion that... Yes, sir.
Oh, I said that's right.
Isn't it in this motion that Dan Markel seeks to enjoin you from allowing your mother from spending time with the kids without supervision?
Can you please show me which page that's on?
450. Do you see a paragraph beginning on 3 specific occasions?
Yes, I do.
Could you read that, please?
8A, on 3 specific occasions in November 2013, the children informed Mr. Markel, "Abba, Dad, Grandma says you're stupid." When queried as to why Grandma, the maternal grandmother, would say such things, the children replied jointly that it is because she says you are trying to take her sunshines away from her.
And continue, please.
In December 2013,
you don't have to say the name.
Yeah.
Your child.
My child, the younger son, further stated to Mr. Markel in front of the former wife, "Abba, Grandma says she hates you." The children were visiting with their grandparents at that time.
Mr. Markel is concerned that continued exposure to such negativity forms a foundation for parental alienation. Is that what he was alleging about your mom?
That is what he is alleging in this document, yes.
And this was filed in court?
He filed this in court.
On what date?
It will be at the front of the document, right?
Yes, ma'am, page 441.
This was filed on March 26th, 2014.
And this was the filing that never got ruled on, right?
I don't believe there was any ruling on this.
And that's because Dan Markel was killed before the hearing, right?
I don't know when it was scheduled for.
It wasn't even scheduled yet.
Okay.
It was waiting to be scheduled when he was killed. Is it fair to say your mom was worried about this motion?
No, my mom never knew about this motion. And as I mentioned before, Danny asked my mom to babysit after filing this motion.
This is about to be a lie caught in real time.
So I don't really believe anything that's written here.
Well, you forwarded this motion.
You didn't know! You forwarded it, you liar! That's why we're up to 35.
There's no, I
believe I
didn't
did.
there. So that's 36.
So it's 36?
Well, you forwarded this motion to your mother.
I don't believe I
via
did.
email. In fact, you forwarded this motion to 12 different people. Your mom, Jeffrey Lacoste, Renee Griggs, Tova Walsh, Morgan Honeycutt, Gary Cohen, Miguel Edmondson, Trey Hubler, Robert Adelson, Rachel Frank, Jared Reich, and some MEHULNYC at yahoo.com. So if you weren't worried about this, why'd you send it to all these people?
I couldn't really say. It's been a long time.
All right, so first of all, I want to thank Chloe and Sally who just sent a $10 PayPal. You guys are the best. But second of all, that's a big part there, because to me, what that means, Wendi doesn't know everything the state has on her. Because if Wendi knew that the state had those, like, the emails, that she would have said, yeah, like, she just gets up caught lying there, because she doesn't know there's certain shit she either forgot about or doesn't know that the state has. Because if Wendi knew, obviously she'd be like, yeah, I did. But she lies straight up, right, babe? Am I wrong in this assessment?
Yeah, and this is the first trial where we heard that evidence, that she forwarded it to 12 people. And then she reads the names. That's great.
Right. So Wendi doesn't know everything they have. And clearly we all don't know everything they have against Wendi.
And then a couple days later, we know what happened.
So this was in March. So a couple days, I sent it to people in July when Danny was killed.
You sent it a couple days later.
I sent
that email to 12 different people.
In March.
Yes.
By the way, I said this yesterday, but I feel Rauschbaum has a little Lorne Michaels. Can we approach his, just the way he says his O's, like, welcome to the show. Can we approach? Something about him reminds me of Lorne Michaels, or Dr. Evil, who was based off of Lorne Michaels. This more. By the way, these two don't even look at each other, right, babe? Do they even look at each other during the trial? Like, right?
He tries. He tries to make eye contact with her, and she will not.
We'll resume with the examination of the witness in 5 minutes. We'll resume with the examination.
Yeah, she doesn't even look at him there. That's for sure. All right, so I can fast forward all this.
Do you have a copy of the?
Was forwarding.
And she's back with her team. She has like a bodyguard and her lawyer.
I also have to let the court reporter get set. She is the woman of the hour.
Oh man, I think we're gonna get to the part where she gets all flustered soon.
Brother or a younger brother? I want to talk a little bit about your brother, Charlie. Is he an older brother or a younger brother to you?
I'm the youngest of 3, so I have 2 older brothers. They're both older than me.
All right, and he's the middle child, Charlie?
That's right.
All right, and are you closer to Charlie or to the other brother?
I'm closer to Charlie.
How much time were you spending with Charlie back in 2013 and 2014?
Not a lot of time. I was in Tallahassee. He was in South Florida.
Did he work a lot?
He worked a lot, yeah.
And did he work at one location or travel around?
He would travel around. He worked at multiple locations.
Was he pretty successful in his job?
Yeah, he came up with a great business model for what he did, and he worked really hard and was very successful.
Was your brother known to carry a lot of cash?
I mean, he had cash on him sometimes. I never saw large sums of cash.
Did you ever see stapled cash?
I never saw stapled cash.
Were you familiar with his practice of stapling cash together in stacks?
No, I never knew about that.
Was your brother Charlie protective of you?
I think when I was a little kid. Yeah.
What about as an adult?
As an adult? I mean, not particularly.
Is it fair to say that during the year or so leading up to the murder of Dan Markel that your brother did not like your ex?
I mean, I don't think he probably didn't like him, but I also think he didn't spend a lot of time thinking about him.
Did he ever like him?
Yeah, I mean, I think they got along fine.
Did your brother ever mention hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel?
No.
38.
I'm going to turn your attention to your law enforcement interview, and I'm referring to page 25, lines 13 through 15. but it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV. Is that what he said?
That was a joke that he made, yes.
And hiring the hitman, that was to kill Dan Markel, right? That was the joke.
That was the joke that he made in poor taste, yes.
Not to kill someone else.
No. Well, he never used his name.
Okay. Well, he's hiring you the TV because it's cheaper as a divorce present than a hitman. Who else would he be hitting with the hitman?
I never really thought about it because it was not a thing that he meant. He just made a
39.
bad joke.
Well, you repeated the joke, didn't you?
He repeated the joke.
Didn't you also repeat the joke?
To other people?
Yes, like Jeff Lacasse.
I never said that to Jeff Lacasse.
40.
You didn't tell Jeff Lacasse that your brother got you that TV as a divorce present because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
I may have repeated that joke in the context of the TV, yes.
All right, and who is Jeff Lacasse?
Jeff Lacasse was a person I dated in 2013.
And did you tell Jeffrey Lacasse shortly before the actual murder that your brother really had looked into hiring a hitman?
I did not.
Did he buy you a TV as a divorce present?
Did my brother buy me a TV as a divorce present?
Yes, sorry, I should have
Yes.
clarified that. And was the TV that your brother bought you as a divorce present the same TV that was being repaired on the morning of the murder?
Yes.
Did your mom text you that morning that the repair guy was coming to repair the TV?
I don't remember that.
Why would your mom have been involved in your TV repair appointment?
Because I didn't purchase the TV. The TV was a gift that my brother paid for, but my mom went and got it and he reimbursed her. So the contract would have been under her name and her number. So when the repair guy was coming, they may have called or texted the number on the account instead of my number.
By the way, if you're not familiar with this case and you're trying to get an idea of the TV, like this is some 50-inch plasma LCD, Jeff Lacasse is like, this was like a TV you have in a dorm room. It was like a tiny-ass TV. This wasn't like a big fucking TV. This was like a tiny... Jeff was like, I'll buy you a new one. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, no, you can't. Don't buy me a new one. So anyway.
Okay. And after the murder, do you recall going to a dinner where you got sick at the table?
It was about a month later, and yes, I remember.
Where did that dinner occur? Was that here in Tallahassee or somewhere else?
No, it was in Miami.
All right. And was it like out at a restaurant?
It was at a restaurant.
All right. And when we say you got sick at the table, did you actually
Thank
vomit
you,
at
Marcy.
the table?
I threw up at the table.
All right. And did you ever hear your brother refer to that particular dinner as a celebratory dinner?
No.
I see that the $20 super chat from Marcy says rage quit on it. Thank you so much, Marcy.
Did you tell Jeffrey Lacasse that your brother called that a celebratory dinner?
I did not.
Was that a...
One moment, Ms. Kelley.
Yes, sir.
The objection.
Hearsay.
Overruled.
Was that dinner a celebration of the murder of your ex-husband?
Absolutely not. That dinner was the first time I left my house after over a month because I was terrified. And if it was a celebration of...
This is another, like, look at her face. This is like more of the mask. Watch this.
Ex-husband.
Absolutely not. That dinner was the first time I left my house after over a month because I was terrified. And if it was a celebration of anything, it was a celebration that I was willing to leave the house and eat a meal.
If it was a celebration of anything, it was 41. It was a celebrate. Charlie was like, "You're leaving the house. Let's celebrate and eating a meal. Bonus.
Oh, good job,
Celebrate good times. Come on." They were playing it.
We all know that you haven't eaten for a whole month, Wendy. You've got to quit this. You're just going to blow away, little girl.
Do you know Catherine Magbanua, or have you ever met her?
I have met her.
Did you have an independent friendship with her, or did you only know her through your brother?
I only knew her through my brother.
What was her relationship to your brother?
They dated at some point.
Was there anything unusual about her as a girlfriend from your viewpoint at the time?
No,
So she seemed like a typical kind of girl that he would date?
she did.
Did you meet all his girlfriends?
I don't know. I met many girlfriends.
Okay. Did you meet Whitney Kick?
I did.
Okay. And Whitney Kick was after Catherine Magbanua, correct?
I believe so.
All right. And there's a photograph, I'm sure you recall, of you on the beach with Catherine Magbanua. Do you recall when that photo was taken?
I do. It was Father's Day 2014, so 9 years ago.
June 15th of 2014?
That sounds right.
So about a month before the murder?
That sounds right.
Where was this photo taken?
It was in Miami. I went down to visit my dad for Father's Day.
Approaching and showing you what I've marked with it.
Yes.
Okay. 5. Yeah. All right, is that you in the center?
That's me.
Which one's Catherine Magbanua?
The one on the left, our left in the picture.
And how long had Ms. Magbanua been dating your brother at the time this photo was taken?
I have no idea.
How many times had you met Ms. Magbanua at the time this was taken?
I think once before.
Okay, how many times did you hang out with her total?
Just these 2 times. Once at the dinner when I met her, and then once at the beach for an hour.
Was the relationship between your brother and Catherine Magbanua serious, if you know?
I don't know. I mean, 10 years ago, was it serious? Not too serious?
It never stood out to you during that time frame as like, oh, this is the one?
No.
All right, so you mentioned you thought Whitney Kick was after Catherine Magbanua. What about June Mchinda? Do you know which one that is?
Yes.
When you say, do I...
Go ahead, babe.
I don't want to call this person out because I don't like to do that. But I do think that this is something that gets said a lot. And you and I both have exes who were not able to be reasoned with. And a lot of times in a contentious divorce, especially when kids are involved, people will advise you as the person who is being a reasonable person. Well, if you could just be nicer, if you could just meet with them in person and like do all these things. And there's not an ability to do that when there is a person that is willing to go to the lengths of murdering you, or if there is a person who is addicted to a substance or whatever. You've already tried for years and years and years to be nice, and that doesn't fucking work. And so it's really hard when you've been through something like that to hear that criticism. I know that it's not coming from a place of that, but just so you know, when talking to somebody about their difficult divorce, they've already tried those things, and they're coming to you with, they have to use the court at this point in time because mediation didn't work. Other things meeting up in person didn't work. Being together didn't work. And so it's just hard to see stuff like that, going through something like that, because I did hear that. And I know you heard that a lot too, babe.
I sure did.
And it's just not something we could do. We had to use the court at that point in time because there wasn't an ability in that other person, which I think we see. There's not an ability in Wendi as the way that she is raised that she could have done that. And he had to fight at that point in time because he was terrified that he was going to lose his children. And he ended up losing his life.
This is why I always love having Babe on, because she always can explain things in such a way that's always makes sense and much more artfully than I ever could. So thank you, Babe. Good point.
I know which one that is. She's not in the picture.
No, ma'am. You're one of your brother's girlfriends, June Mchinda. Do you know her?
I met someone named June.
Okay. And would you agree that was also after Catherine Magbanua?
Yes, that would have been after.
When did you learn that Catherine Magbanua was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So So he never told you?
Hold on. I just love that. That's like one of my favorite parts of this trial. That
Go back, play it again.
Listen to Georgia.
After Catherine McBanois?
Yes, that would have been after.
When did you learn that Catherine McBanois was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So he never told you?
No.
You testified in Catherine McBanois' murder trial last year, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And she was convicted.
She was convicted, yes.
Of murder?
Yes, of murder.
Of murdering Dan Markel.
Of murdering my children's father, yes.
A crime for which she apparently is innocent because she was just a conduit for Sigfredo Garcia. Did you learn that today along with all of us?
Well, I learned that someone made that argument. I don't know whether it's true or not true.
Okay. You have no knowledge of it.
I have no knowledge.
In all the years this has been pending.
In all of the years this has been pending.
Your brother has known who killed your child's father, and you didn't know.
I did not know.
This is where you can see Georgia's so done with her bullshit.
Do you know why Catherine McBanois was on the payroll at the Adelson Institute?
I believe that she worked there.
What did she do there?
I know my brother met her at a dental office, so I'm guessing administrative work of some kind.
Did you ever observe her doing administrative work there?
No.
How did the killers in this case know that Dan Markel was planning to leave town the day after the killing?
I have no idea.
You knew he was planning to leave town the next day, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Did you convey that information to anyone?
Absolutely not.
To your knowledge, did your brother have that information?
I don't know why he would have known that.
Perhaps from your phone call after you talked to Dan. That was 18 minutes and 17 seconds long, perhaps.
So if the killers were told it has to be done today because he's leaving town tomorrow, we don't know how they knew that.
I have no idea how they knew that.
But it would have to come from someone familiar with Dan Markel's schedule, wouldn't it?
They would have to find out somehow. I don't know how.
Prior to Dan Markel's murder, when were you last in South Florida? Was it this trip that's pictured here?
No, because it was my dad's 70th birthday in early July, so I would have gone down to celebrate his birthday.
Okay, when's Dad's birthday?
July 5th.
How long were you down there for that July 5th trip?
I don't really remember offhand, but my guess is about a week.
Did you see Charlie Adelson on that trip?
Yes. We celebrated my dad's birthday, the whole family and friends, everybody.
Did you see Catherine McBanois on that trip?
I don't remember if she was there or not.
Did Dad have a birthday party?
Dad had a birthday party.
Was it a big birthday?
It was his 70th birthday.
And was Catherine McBanois at the party?
I don't remember seeing her there.
Do you remember seeing June Umchinda at the party?
I don't.
Or Whitney Kick at the party?
I don't.
So it could have been any one of them or none of them?
Or none of them. I don't remember there being a girlfriend with him at the party.
All right, so you said the birthday was what, July 5th?
It would have been July 5th.
Okay. And do you know on what day you celebrated?
Maybe his birthday, if it was... I felt like it was a weekend, so maybe if July 5th was a Saturday, then it was on his actual birthday.
Okay, tell me about the event. You said there were family and friends there, about how many people?
Maybe like 50 people.
What was on the menu?
We had paella.
Were you responsible for securing the paella, or is that your brother's job, or someone else?
I didn't arrange it, but I speak Spanish and no one else could communicate with him, so I spent some time helping him. That's why I remember what we ate.
Okay.
Because whatever this place was that they got from solely spoke Spanish. No one there spoke English. Wherever they booked this from in Florida, no one there spoke English, so Wendi had to help out.
There is never a time, including when she is in an interrogation or an interview, when she could be a suspect for a murder, that she will not let you know that she is fluent in Spanish. And isn't that fucking special?
Hey, Marco.
Did your dad get any big gifts for his 70th?
I don't remember.
So there was no big lead up and discussion about some big gift that you were involved in, at least?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I gave him a present. I hope I did.
Do you remember what anybody gave him?
I don't remember if I mean, this is the simplest of questions. Did you give your dad a birthday gift? Like, so was, Wendy, you remember a year where you just didn't give your parent a birthday? I hope I did. I don't remember. You gave him
For that birthday?
I really don't.
Was the murder of Dan Markel your dad's big gift?
I mean, that's, of course not. That's a horrible thing to say.
What about the grandchildren, getting full unfettered access to the grandchildren?
My
Could that
parents
have been
had
the
full
big gift?
unfettered access to their grandchildren always.
Not when they lived in Tallahassee.
Well, whenever they could come up and see them, they did.
They were 50% of the time with Dan Markel, right?
Sure, but whenever they were with me, they had full unfettered access.
On the occasion that we're talking about, Dad's birthday, was that one of the times that when you came back to Tallahassee, your parents rode with you and then rented a car and drove home in the rental car?
It was.
And how long a drive is that?
It's about 7 hours.
During that 7-hour trip, or at any time when you were in South Florida, was there any discussion of a murder at all?
No, absolutely not.
Any discussion of what to do about Dan?
No.
Any further discussion about bribing, converting to Christianity, any of those strategies?
No, that ship had long sailed.
Any discussion on that trip about the pending motion to preclude your mom from having contact with the kids?
I mean, the ship had long sailed has to be one. I know the others we can't prove yet.
Yeah, well, the ship has long sailed, and I'm going to put 46. And I said this when I think I was watching this with Jack or maybe Jack. If you think for one fucking second that on the 8-hour drive with Donna, Harvey, and Wendy, that they had zero conversation about Dan Markel, zero conversation about the divorce. Let's just put aside the murder if you want to pretend like she wasn't involved. If you think that they had zero conversation about Dan and the divorce, like I said last time, I got some blue contacts to sell you. Look, there's Hulk again in the background again. I'm like, who? Every time I watch this, I'm like, why is Hulk there? And it's just a lady in a green mask.
What was wrong with the TV that was repaired the morning of the murder?
I think one of my boys might have thrown something at it. There was like a little crack in the TV.
How long had the TV been broken at the time that it got repaired?
I honestly don't remember.
Could it have been a long time, quite a long time?
No, it could have been. I mean, I would be completely speculating. I don't remember how long.
The reason she's getting at this is because she fucking kept that cracked dorm-sized TV in her house because she, instead of just, Jeff was like, I'll buy you one. She could have bought one. She kept that shit in her house because she had to have this appointment. And why did she have to have this appointment? Because it was it's setting up Dan's murder. That's why she's asking this question.
It was broken for.
Do you remember who repaired the TV?
Yes, it was called the Geek Squad.
Do you remember the window that the Geek Squad gave you for when they were going to be at your home to do this repair?
I do. I think they said it was 8 to 12 or 9 to 1, something like that.
Okay. Would you agree with me if I told you it was 8 to 12?
That sounds right.
All right. And do you recall what time the repairman actually arrived?
No, but I remember they came on the early side.
Okay. Again, tonight at 8 p.m., I'm going to go over the police report, specifically the written statement from the Best Buy guy, and it shows the exact time that he was there on that written statement. So tonight, 8 p.m., come join.
And was the repair done?
No.
Why not?
Because I called my brother to find out how much a new TV would cost versus how much the repair cost, and it didn't make sense to repair it.
It's cheaper to buy a new TV.
Yep.
The records indicate the repairman was there for about 45 minutes. Does that sound accurate to you?
Sure. That's my best. Sure.
Why?
Susan Crow, you guys are the best. Love your coverage so much. $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Susan. Yeah, it's funny you say that, Wesley. I was just noticing how she keeps, at this point, she's very turning to the jury to be like, no, it's not. This all makes sense to you, right? None of this is weird. Good call.
Why was he there for that long just to tell you, like, this thing can't be repaired or it's cost prohibitive to repair? Do you remember?
I don't. My guess is he was there to try to see how he could repair the TV, and then he gave me an estimate, and then I found out what the estimate compared to the cost of a new TV would be.
It's a broken fucking screen. What did she think he was going to do? Like Billy Mays slap some piece of tape on there and was going to fix it? This shit, it's a broken screen. That shit wasn't going to get fixed. She fucking knew that. It wasn't like she turned it on and it was like some, HDMI issue. It was a fucking broken screen that she could have got repaired. She's a liar and she's guilty. I don't care.
She totally made Jeff watch and the kids watch that movie, How to Train Your Dragon, on the broken TV so that Jeff would remember and say, oh, yes, the screen was broken. She did that to set up her alibi.
And also, he's like, she wouldn't let me go to like the other room to get the other TV,
right?
Which people have speculated is because those other rooms were being packed. I mean, I don't have. That's pure speculation. But he does make a point to say, he says he's like he was like surprised how like she like stops him from going to another room to watch the TV on a different TV or get it.
Who paid the repairman?
I did.
The repairman, you're familiar with his statement that you seemed really upset that day. What were you upset about?
I have no idea.
Were you upset that day?
I don't remember being... Oh, yes, I was upset that day.
I love highlighting this part because it's like she forgets her script, but then she remembers it. She's like, so here we go. Watch this again. Watch this.
That day, what were you upset about?
I have no idea.
Ding.
Were you upset that day?
Wait.
I don't remember being... Oh, yes, I was upset that day.
Oh.
I was upset. I remember Danny wanted to take the kids swimming, and I wanted to pick them up earlier in the day.
Right.
Okay,
and
so nothing to do with the TV.
Something super upsetting. She was very upset about that with the Best Buy guy. That's what she was thinking when the Best Buy. She was upset about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think so. I probably wasn't that upset about the TV.
Her and Charlie, they're both stupid.
Did you ever use
idiots.
the TV as code for the murder?
No.
Did you ever hear your mom do that?
No.
Do you remember on July 13th, 2014, seeing Jeffrey Lacasse at your place on Aqua Ridge? Do you even remember that evening?
I don't remember seeing him at my place because by that point we were kind of broken up, so I don't think I would have seen him at my place.
All right. So on that occasion, you couldn't have told him you wanted to share something with him in confidence?
I think that would be very unlikely. We had kind of broken up at that point.
And you couldn't have told him at that time the statement about your brother really did look into hiring the hitman?
I can't imagine I would have said that.
Again, she doesn't say, no, I didn't say that. That Jack would probably be all of that. I can't imagine. By the way, I wonder if she has like a good chiropractor from fucking... I can't even imagine holding my neck like that for that long.
And when did you break up with Mr. Lacasse, or when did the two of you break up?
It would have been end of June 2014.
So not 4 days before the murder?
No.
All right, so end of June 2014 would have been the last time you saw him.
No. I saw him after that. We were talking and kind of figuring out what we wanted to do, but we had gone on a trip to Gainesville the last weekend in June, at which point we had a big argument, and I really didn't want to be with him after that. So at that point for me, I was pretty much done, but there were more discussions until it, formally ended.
And when was the formal end?
I remember seeing him that Monday night and telling him I wanted to have some space.
Okay, so 4 days before the murder?
So 4 days before Danny was killed.
All right, and that was that the end of your relationship with him?
When I told him I wanted some space, yeah.
Okay. Where did you go after the TV repair man left?
After he left, I stayed at the house for a while, and I was working on some pieces of writing. I was talking with...
Again, I think, Jack, we went out again. This question was, where did you go? after the TV, not all this other bullshit.
Various friends. I had a friend in town interviewing for a job at FSU. I was making plans to go meet her. The time got too close before her interview. And then I had 2 friends that I would often meet on Fridays, just kind of last minute. And so we made plans to go have lunch.
All right, so what time did you leave the house to go have lunch?
I really didn't remember offhand, but I refreshed my memory and saw it was sometime around 12:45.
Okay, so it makes sense that you might have left your residence at about 12:30?
Sure.
Okay. And did you go to the crime scene or very near the crime scene on your way from your residence to, I guess, to lunch or to wherever you were going next?
No, I did not.
51.
So you never turned on...
If you had the over-under for 50, we just went over 50, 51. She fucking drove to the crime scene.
Trescott Drive that day.
I went to turn on Trescott Drive, but I saw that it had been blocked off by some tape, and so I just kept driving on Centerville.
Okay, and when you had to turn around at the tape, right, to go back out?
I think I tried to turn right, and it couldn't turn, so I would have made like a
Lies. This is a
kind
mess.
of turn, like a K-turn, and kept going.
Was there a roadblock there with...
There was tape.
Yeah, and an officer was there?
I didn't see an officer, but I did see a car.
A law enforcement marked vehicle? Okay. Did you have any contact with the officer?
No.
Okay. Did you do anything after that to try to find out what was going on down that roadway?
No, I just assumed it was weather, or maybe a tree fell.
Had there been bad weather that day?
No, but it was summertime, and there's electrical storms and trees fall, so...
Just a ton of electrical storms in Florida with trees just falling everywhere.
That would have been pretty normal for summertime.
Where were your kids supposed to be at the time that you encountered that roadblock?
They would have been at school.
And that's at the creative preschool?
That's right.
Who took them to preschool that day?
Danny.
And who was supposed to pick them up from preschool that day?
Me.
All right. So did you know for sure that they had made it to preschool that day at the time you encountered the roadblock?
I just assumed. I mean, if they hadn't made it to preschool, Danny would have let me know, but...
Did you attempt to call Dan Martell when you encountered the roadblock?
No, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was related to the house.
Had you talked to Dan Martell or your kids that morning?
My kids know, but that would have been normal, and Danny and I tried to get in touch with each other, but we left. We were trying to figure out where Ben was going to go to kindergarten at the time, and we left voicemails for each other but didn't get to talk.
Okay. Did he leave you a voicemail message that morning?
He did.
Okay. I asked you earlier about him being scheduled to leave town the day after he was killed. Do you know where he was planning to go?
He was going to New York to see his girlfriend.
All right. The message that he left you that morning, do you remember what he told you in the message?
I mean, I think it was about our son's school.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't really remember.
Okay. Included in that was it included in that message that he was heading to the gym and was going to be at the gym between 9:15 and 10:30 that morning?
I really don't remember, but that sounds like it could be what he would leave.
Okay. Your recollection to review it. Let me know when you're done.
Now she's giving her the voicemail.
Voicemail that he left you.
Okay.
So did he say in that voicemail that he left you what his plans were in regards to the gym that day?
He did.
What exactly did he say about the gym?
About the gym, he said, I'm going to be at the gym probably between 9:15 and 10:30, but I'm happy to chat or meet with you. Maybe we can go for a walk at school or something like that. Let me know.
Okay.
First super on a live stream, CJ. Love you guys. Thank you so much, CJ. That was so kind. So by the way, she gets that voicemail, and then it's in the police report. I mean, the flurries of calls start. She gets the voicemail, Dan's plans, and then all of a sudden, these calls start going, gee, I wonder why. They didn't know from Wendi. You know how they knew about Dan's schedule? Tato and Tuto were big subscribers to Prof's blog. They checked it every morning because they want to know what's going on in the law world.
Tato didn't even know the word blog.
That's true.
So that particular voicemail doesn't sound very emotionally abusive. Would you agree with that?
No, by this point in time, we were parenting really well, and we were doing just fine.
Getting along great.
That's another great Georgia. Getting along great. Just getting along great, weren't you, Wendi, you liar?
You're on.
I mean, that's essentially Georgia calling her a liar without being able to call her a liar.
Move to strike.
I'll strike the comment, Your Honor.
Please move on.
Did you talk to your brother on the day of your ex-husband's murder?
I did.
And about what time of day did you speak to him?
It would have been right after the repair guys were there, because that's when I called him to tell him, ask him whether I should get the TV repaired or buy a new TV. So
Okay.
it would have been morning.
How long did you talk to him?
18 minutes.
I don't remember.
Does
17
18
seconds.
minutes sound incorrect?
That sounds reasonable.
Okay. Did you talk to him about other things other than just the TV?
I really don't remember what else I talked to him about, but probably maybe I would have asked him about his work, or we would have caught up.
Did you happen to mention Dan Markel's plans to go to New York the next day?
I don't see why I would have.
Did you have WhatsApp on your phone at that time?
I don't know if in 2014 I had WhatsApp. Now we use it for all the parent chats at school, so it's everybody seems to have it, but I don't know if everybody had it back in 2014.
What is
I'm
WhatsApp?
a very involved parent.
WhatsApp is kind of an app you would use for texting.
Do you know if your brother Charlie had it at that time?
I have no idea if he had it at that time.
Did you ever
Charlie did have it at that time, and he is on recording saying that he talked to Wendi all the time on it. So
Yeah.
communicate with Charlie through WhatsApp?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. If I had it at that time or if I had it later, I probably would have.
Just not sure.
Yeah,
Did you have any contact of any kind with Catherine Magbanua on the day of Dan Markel's murder?
no.
Did you ever communicate with her through WhatsApp?
No, I never communicated with her at all.
All right, let's talk about, well, you communicated with her on the beach.
I saw her in person, but I'm saying I never texted with her, called her. I never communicated via a device other than in person.
Okay.
You know, honestly, if that's if the body language thing is a tell, again, that's another thing. Weird ass fucking body language there. I texted her. Who does this when they're text? This is like her
Called her on the phone.
Called her. Right.
I was just at the beach.
You know, I texted her on my fucking BlackBerry.
What about when you were talking to your brother? Did she ever get on the phone and speak to you?
I don't think so.
Okay. I want to talk about where you went when you left your residence on the day of the murder. You tried to turn on to Trescott, and then you ended up where?
I went, I was supposed to go to a party that night, a Stock the Bar party, so I went to a liquor store to pick up what they had asked for as the present for their party. So I went to the liquor store, I picked up the alcohol, I stopped, I think I got gas, and then I went to lunch to meet my friends.
And the liquor store purchase appears to have occurred at 12:49 based on the receipt. Do you have any reason to dispute that
No,
timing?
that sounds right.
Okay, and then from there to the restaurant?
Yes.
And where was the restaurant located?
Mosaic. I actually don't remember. I just remember I would go north on Thomasville Road.
All right.
And so it was,
And is the restaurant where law enforcement came to speak with you and you ended up going with them to the police station, right?
that's correct.
Right. Do you agree or disagree that there have been some financial benefits to you and your boys as a result of Dan's death?
I disagree.
Oh, come on. Come on.
When did you decide to change the names of your children from Markel to Adelson?
So after Danny's murder, there was a lot of news. It just hit the media, and there were news stories everywhere. And Nancy Grace on CNN put pictures of my boys with their faces unblurred, just pictures of them. And I was terrified. And so when they started school, I started school with my last name, thinking that would keep them safe, that they wouldn't be associated with the murder.
Wasn't the Adelson name in the press just
It
as
was
much
not in the
as
press.
Markel?
Not yet.
Well, it is now. Your mom's been, Charlie's been convicted and your mom's been arrested. You gonna change the names back?
Do you agree that you legally changed the kids' names on July 6th of 2015?
That sounds right.
So it was actually a year after the homicide.
A year after.
When was the last time you talked to your mom? Did you talk to her today, yesterday?
I talked to her yesterday.
In her emails, and we referenced one of them while you've been here on the stand, she talks about you giving performances and playing roles. Did you discuss anything about what you would do here today in court with your mother?
No.
This may be the most hilarious comment I've ever seen. Free Charlie! Free Charlie! Free Charlie! Sorry about the dogs. Patty!
Do you want to get a treat? No, I don't want you barking at him. No. No. Hey.
Uh-oh, we're getting echo of Babe yelling at the dogs. Let me mute that. Annie McGee, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Annie McGee, for the super chat. Sorry, I don't know if the male person is here or whatever. Thank you, Annie.
Were you involved in any way in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
Absolutely not.
Did you know it was going to happen, but maybe not know the details?
I knew nothing.
Is that why you went to the crime scene on the day of the homicide?
I did not go to the crime scene on the day of the homicide.
Do you know who all was involved in the murder?
Well, I learned today, but at the time, no.
Okay.
That was a rapid fire lies.
Have you ever privately confronted your brother about his role or possible role in the murder?
My attorney has advised me not to have conversations with anyone in my family about the case.
Free Charlie, arrest Wendy. Interesting, Sonny from the H. What's your theory? What happened here? If we're going to free Charlie and arrest Wendy. Sonny, what's your theory? You're just fucking with me. I get it. Afton gifted a membership. Who's going to get it? Jiggly Jules. Thank you so much, Afton.
But you had a close relationship with your brother at the time of the murder, right?
I absolutely had a close relationship with my brother.
And how soon after the murder did your lawyer advise you not to talk to your family about it?
In 2016.
Okay, so what about the 2 years in between? Did you talk to him about it then?
I mean, I talked to him about the fact that a murder occurred, but I guess I don't understand the question.
But you never talked to him about the suspicions you raised in the law enforcement interview that your brother might have done it?
No, I did not.
You suspected your brother could have been a part of this, right?
I suspected lots of people could have been a part of it.
But he was one of the people, right?
While I was talking with law enforcement for 6 hours, terrified out of my mind, I offered them every possible idea I could come up with.
Right. And one of the possible ideas was that your brother could have murdered your child's father.
Honestly, this is probably the most animated Georgia has ever been. Right, babe? In any of the trials, can you think of a time where she's more animated? I mean, she's putting her hands on her head. She's like, she just can't. Like, this is the most in my. Maybe I'm wrong, but
mad at Charlie one time, kind of like this, but
oh yeah, I guess with Charlie,
not.
I didn't really believe that was possible.
That face. That face.
Was part of the plot for you to be able to have plausible deniability about this?
Absolutely not.
Is it better for both you and your brother if you don't know the details of this?
I don't even understand the question that you're asking me.
When did you first become aware that you might be a suspect in this case?
I mean, as the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought, oh my God, maybe if I hadn't divorced him, he would still be alive. Maybe this is my fault because I complained to the wrong person. Maybe Danny gave a student a bad grade and they came after him. I just was trying to think of who possibly could have wanted to hurt him.
But you didn't say any of that before. I mean, the first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25, not 5 hours into it. You say Charlie. might have done it, right?
Can I see, please?
You may.
This is one of the best parts. This is a mic drop. This is one of the best parts here. But of course,
Right under the highlighted part, I say, no, he would never.
You need a copy?
No.
What are you shaking your head at, stupid? He's so stupid.
Page 25. The one, his name is Charlie. The one I'm through 15, I mean my brother. The one, his name is Charlie. The one I'm really close to. He makes a lot of jokes in that taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay or fix it, or whether I should get a new one. And it was always his joke that, like, he knew that Danny always treated me badly, and it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV, so instead I got you this TV. And you do say you don't think he would do it, but can we agree you brought up his name on page 25 of the interview?
I did.
When asked, would you ever ask someone to do something like this? You say not in a million years. When asked, okay, do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you? You say no. And when Isom starts to ask you, what good does it serve? You say, I mean my brother, the one, his name is Charlie. Isn't that how it went?
This is the transcript, but I think there's also inaccuracies in the transcription.
Oh boy. All right.
Did you hear that? Oh boy. Oh boy.
She does a little hand. There's the inaccuracies in the
I missed
transcript.
that.
The one, his name is Charlie.
That was like an Owens oh boy from Gwyneth Paltrow's trial.
Isn't that how it went?
This is the transcript, but I think there's also inaccuracies in the transcription.
Oh boy. All right.
Oh boy.
Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired him, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid him.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want him held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12.
This is the part.
If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I said.
Different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
It's different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
Boom. Boom. The mic drops. When he's like, no, it's different now, isn't it? Because your fucking brother is on trial. And it's going to be... I can't wait till she uses that line in Donna's trial. It's different now, isn't it?
Maybe we do a sidebar quick?
Very briefly.
Very briefly.
Very briefly. I wonder if this is the... Oh, guys! Holy shit. If you have never seen this before, I'm so glad I almost fast-forwarded, but not the time. This is the part from all the trials I've watched. I mean, not that there's been a lot of sidebars where the video is just on Wendi, but I describe this as Wendi bot is when she starts malfunctioning. Watch after this exchange. Watch this right now, guys. Watch Wendy's body language. Watch her face. If you've not seen this before, even if you have, I mean, this is like, she is flustered. Georgia flustered the shit out of her. Watch this. Oh, this is the best. Charlie shaking his stupid head. All right, we're gonna take a little sip ski. Looking around, she looks at the jury at some point. Look at her. Her blink rate goes off the charts. Her breathing. Just watch her here. Blink, 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 blink. She's like, "What just happened? Are they going to arrest me?" Look at her breathing. Look at her breathing. Looking at the jury, like, are they believing this? Ooh, quick glance to Charlie. Looked like. He can't even look at her. He tries to look at her. She's not looking back. She's still processing what happened there. Look at this. Closes her eyes, deep breath. Now she's like meditating. She's like doing something to like calm herself down because she is like out of sorts. You never see her out of sorts in any of this shit. Like she's closing her eyes and like, oh, she's back. Probably looking at it, Laro.
You may examine when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And here's where Rauschbaum continues of his defense of Wendi Adelson. I mean, Charlie Adelson. By the way, if you're wondering time-wise, what are we at? We got about 30 minutes left. I don't know if you have to go, babe, but if you do.
No, not yet.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Adelson, we've met before, right?
Yes,
We've met 2 or 3 times in our life, right?
that's correct.
We initially met in 2016 after the arrests of the killers in this case.
That's correct.
During that meeting, we had no conversation whatsoever about the substance of this case, right?
That's correct.
We met again in April of 2022 on the day that your brother was arrested, correct?
Correct.
You were at your parents' house and we were figuring out where he was, right?
That's right.
Again, nothing was discussed about the case other than his arrest.
Correct.
In fact, before right now, we have never discussed your testimony at all.
Correct.
Okay. With that in mind, let me ask you the most important question. You're aware that the state has named you as an unindicted co-conspirator in the murder of your ex-husband, right?
Correct.
They believe that you, along with your brother, along with your mom, along with your dad, conspired with those 3 killers, including Katie Magbanawa. They believe you all conspired with them to kill your ex-husband. You understand that, right?
I understand that that is what they believe.
You understand they put up a chart in their opening with pictures of all of you.
Yes, I saw the chart.
Miss Adelson, did you have anything to do with the murder of your brother, of your ex-husband?
Absolutely not.
It's fair to say the state has it wrong.
Absolutely.
Were you in a conspiracy with any members of your family to kill Professor Markel?
No.
Okay, with that starting point, let's get into your background a little bit.
With that starting point of me defending you somehow, Wendi, in Charlie's trial, let me continue and talk about you, Wendi, when we're defending Charlie.
Look how her her lady on her team is so proud of her right now.
Yeah, look at her. Look at that smile.
Good job, Wendi girl.
Good call, babe.
I'm going to try to skip through stuff that's already been done.
Thanks, Roushy boy.
Growing up, you were pretty close with your parents.
Yes.
Fair to say they were middle class?
Yes.
You went to a public high school?
I did.
You did pretty well in high school, right?
I was valedictorian.
What does this have to do with the defense of Charlie Adelson? Can someone tell me why he's asking her these questions? I mean, I'm sure Georgia could probably object relevance, but she's probably like, I'm just going to let him be dumb and look stupid in front of the jury.
But around a year or 2 before you went to college, your father was a victim of a Ponzi scheme, correct?
What does this have
It was
to
actually
do?
when I was in 8th grade.
And he lost much of his wealth.
He lost his whole life savings.
You still went to a prestigious college up in Boston, right?
I got a full scholarship.
And then when it came time to go to law school, did you pay for law school?
I got a full scholarship.
Now, you got asked a lot of questions about divorce law in your direct examination. Are you a divorce lawyer?
I am not.
What type of law did you specialize in?
Immigration.
All those filings, and we'll get to them. Did you write those filings?
No.
So the words that Ms. Kappelman were reading, they were for you. You reviewed them, correct?
I did.
Did you draft them?
I didn't draft any pleadings.
That motion for contempt, she asked you if he could be put in jail. You have no idea, right?
I didn't remember whether that's what contempt meant, but
You were just seeking the court to enforce its previous order, right?
that's correct.
Again, the defense's theory is this is an extortion plot.
Now remember you
with,
said...
Sigfredo and Katie, etc. Why on earth would he have to go through any of this? Seriously, like, a serious question. Can anyone think of Babe, can you think of what his reasoning is to go through all this shit with Wendi when it has nothing to do with the extortion plot? Like, it's like...
It doesn't. It has to do with the other defense, which is the totally not guilty plot. But that's not their defense.
Right.
That during these filings, this is the same exhibit, that you thought you talked about some other things and Ms. Kappelman said, nah, it's not in there. Remember that?
I do.
I'm gonna, can I borrow that binder?
Can I borrow that binder? I can't see over the podium. Jay,
I really want to fact check on if she got a full scholarship to law school. That's very, very rare.
I'm gonna
Not
draw
for
your
not for
attention.
graduate school.
This is,
You just don't. You don't get not very often get full scholarships to law school, med school, graduate school. That's rare. So I'm shocked, and I would like a fact check because she's such a liar.
State's Exhibit 56. I'm gonna draw your attention to page 187. And I want you to read this paragraph for the jury.
Okay. The wife has been very unhappy in the marriage and filed her petition for dissolution of marriage in August 2012. The husband continues to characterize this as an abandonment of the family. At no time has the wife abandoned the children. She is divorcing the husband due to her unhappiness with him and the marriage, and she only moved out of the home because she knew the husband would not. The husband's statement of abandonment are unfounded and not supported by fact or law. He is simply having difficulty accepting her decision. In fact, he is having so much difficulty that he has told several of her colleagues and friends that she must have mental health issues.
You can stop there.
Okay.
Do you remember telling Ms. Kappelman that you remember filing something like that?
Yes, I do.
You can set it aside. We're going to
Okay.
move on. When did you meet Professor Markel?
We met in Washington, D.C. in the fall of 2004 when I went up to D.C. to interview for a job.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living in Miami.
When did the relationship get serious?
Well, because it was long distance, it kind of got serious pretty quickly because it's a commitment to date someone long distance. So we started.
I think I'm going to put this at 1.25 because I just fucking can't take these two.
Dating, and then I think over Thanksgiving, he came and spent Thanksgiving with my family, and by then it felt pretty serious.
Do you recall if you introduced him to Charlie?
I would have at that point. I don't remember introducing him before that time, but he would have met my whole family then.
What did Charlie think of Professor Markel?
I honestly don't remember his reaction, but
Were they buddies?
no,
They really had nothing in common, right?
no, they had nothing in common.
Now, you got engaged pretty quickly. Is that fair to say?
We did, yep.
And I think you described how you ended up in Tallahassee, how you did your last year of law school in Tallahassee. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then you had 2 children.
We did.
During the marriage, did Professor Markel get along with your parents?
Yeah.
Now, skipping a little bit ahead, and then we'll go back. Do you remember asking Ms. Kappelman asking you about your parents not liking Tallahassee and not having access to the kids in Tallahassee? Do you recall those questions?
I don't remember her asking whether my parents didn't like Tallahassee, but I remember her asking about access, like not having unfettered access to the kids.
And do you remember talking about how your parents were looking for real estate in Tallahassee?
Yeah, my parents were trying to buy a house here.
Do you recall that after you got divorced, they contacted a real estate agent named Tim Kelly to buy that house?
Yes.
During the course of your marriage, I think you said you were close to your brother, Charlie.
Yes.
How often did you speak to each other?
Maybe once a week or a couple times here and there.
Now, in all the years you lived in Tallahassee, is it fair to say that Charlie only came up 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, he came up for the birth of both boys, so definitely twice. And then I think he had an internship or a job in Alabama for a little while, so he came by then, but so maybe 3 times.
Now, you described that there came a time when you and Professor Markel started to have some marital issues.
That's right.
And some of these issues had to do with religion, correct?
Yes.
And some of them had to do with just the fact that you two were growing apart. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
But you got marriage counseling, right?
We did.
How long were you in marriage counseling for?
I think about 6 months, maybe.
Now, as close as you are with your mom, while in marriage counseling, did you tell her you were in marriage counseling?
I don't remember telling her I was in marriage counseling.
And until the end, did Charlie know that you were in marriage counseling?
I don't know if I talked to my family about being in counseling.
Do you recall a time when you and Charlie, you were down in South Florida and you told him that you were having marital problems?
I do.
And what was Charlie's reaction to that?
I mean, he was supportive of me. I remember him saying, life is short, so if you're unhappy, then, you can make a different choice.
Do you recall a dinner at the Melting Pot where you told Charlie that you had decided to file for divorce?
I do.
And when you told Charlie that you were going to file for divorce, did he have anger and hatred towards Professor Markel?
No.
Oh, Lisa upgrading to Super Bows. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Was he sad because he knew that this was going to affect his nephews?
I don't think he was really sad. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people wondered why I got married to Danny in the first place, and my friends were very supportive when I decided to end the marriage.
Now, you actually filed for divorce in September of 2012, is that right?
That sounds right.
And when you filed for divorce, let me say this. When you left the home, I think that was discussed in the direct, Professor Markel was out of town, right?
He was. I called him and let him know that I had filed.
You're a non-confrontational person, right?
It is not my best quality, yes.
But you had been in marriage counseling for quite some time before you left the home, right?
Yes.
Great question. Hello, Shiny.
Before you left the home, did you have a place to live?
I did.
So there was some planning, correct?
Yes.
Charlie had nothing to do with those arrangements, right?
No.
And that's when you moved into the Aqua Ridge house?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's marked as Defense Exhibit 1 for identification purposes only. May I approach your honor?
You may.
The email addresses on this document,
I do.
is that your email address in July of 2012?
It was my work email address, so that makes sense. That must have been my email.
Does this look like an email that you could have received from your mom?
It does. I don't remember this email, but it does look like an email I could have received.
Judge, I would move this into evidence as Defense Exhibit 1 at this time.
Is there an objection?
Objection, hearsay.
Approach.
Please bring the exhibit with you.
Oh, we got an approachable. You know what that means, even though I'm going to fast forward it. Oh, she's again getting herself together here. She's calmed down a little bit from.
But you need this back.
2012, right?
Yes.
And just pointing to just under paragraph 2, I just need to know that I can legally take my children and move to another location. There was concern that you wanted to make sure that you weren't breaking the law, right?
Correct.
What can I legally remove from the house to the new location? There was concern that you wanted to do everything within the law, right?
Correct.
All right. What?
Wait, what email?
I just need to know that I
Oh, this is from Donna to Wendy, July 2012.
can legally take my children and move to another location.
I kind of want to pause this here. What are the logistics? He's going to be furious about this. Once he calls me, should I meet him anywhere in my new location? So these are questions to ask her lawyer, I guess?
Yeah.
If I take my children, how does daycare work? Since we are both allowed to pick the children. Look at how fucking involved Donna is with this shit. What can I legally remove from the house to my new location? Like, this is all the planning of taking all the shit out. Can I take half the children?
Something that strikes me from the enmeshment point of view is that Donna writes the questions as if they are her.
Oh, man, babe.
Where
Great.
can he be served? Where can I do this? Do I have the right to take my children with me? She
Once
doesn't
he
say,
calls me, should I
ask
meet
him
him?
if you can take the kids.
Great point, babe. That is a great point.
There was concern that you wanted to make sure that you weren't breaking the law, right?
Correct.
What can I legally remove from the house to the new location? There was concern that you wanted to do everything within the law, right?
Correct.
Now, we've heard a lot about this TV already, so let's just clear this up right now. Charlie bought you the TV, right?
Yes.
More precisely, Charlie had your parents buy the TV and he paid them back.
Yes.
And they bought the TV from Best Buy, right?
Yes.
Have you ever bought anything from Best Buy?
I'm sure I have.
When you buy from Best Buy, they always try you to get the Geek Squad warranty, right?
Yeah, they do.
And people like me always fall for that, right? But when you call and you need a repair on the TV, it's got to be registered to your name, right?
I think so.
His mentor lawyer.
I don't know.
If the Geek Squad was registered to your mom and dad?
I don't know offhand, but if they're the ones who bought the TV, then they probably bought the, Geek Squad policy that went with it too.
If I showed you the receipt, would that refresh your recollection?
I don't really have an independent recollection, so I don't think so.
We'll come back to that.
Georgia, right now.
Now, Charlie made that joke many times, right?
Joke. It's his
He never
O's.
told you-
Joke. Charlie, you made that joke.
He actually looked into hiring a hitman, right?
No.
Did you think he was serious?
No.
By the way, the state has you as a co-conspirator with Charlie Adelson, right?
I believe so.
But they also have you, according to them, blurting out during an interview that your alleged co-conspirator did the murder. Does that make any sense?
I don't understand the
Let
question.
me rephrase. They have you guys as co-conspirators. They think you did a murder together, right?
I think so. That's what they believe.
If you did a murder together, why would you have blurred out a statement like that?
I clearly would not.
Sustained.
Do you know if Charlie repeated that joke in March of 2014 when you went to Yardbirds with Jeff Lacoste?
He may have, if I was mentioning the TV was broken or something like that.
Do you know who else was at that dinner?
Katie.
During your divorce, you spoke to your mom daily, probably, right?
I would usually call my parents on my way to drop kids at school. We'd have a short conversation, so that sounds right.
And it's fair to say that your parents were involved in some of the decisions that you were making in the divorce. You were asking their advice.
For some of the time.
Did you often speak with Charlie about what was happening in the divorce?
Not too much, no.
But fair to say Charlie was supportive of you, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was always supportive of me.
Is Charlie kind of self-centered?
I don't think so.
At the time of your divorce, though,
He wanted her to say yes to that.
he had a lot going on in his life.
I mean, his life was going great. He had a great business. He always had lots of girls. He had friends.
The divorce was settled in July of 2013.
Correct.
How did you feel after it was settled?
I felt better. Felt a sense of relief that we could just move on with our lives.
Now I want to talk a little bit about this relocation issue.
Okay.
Isn't it true that your attorney told you that there was very little chance for you to win that motion?
I believe so, yes.
That's probably true. My attorney said the same thing. And I had a far better case.
Where were you working in Tallahassee? Let's go backwards, actually. In 2007, when you were married, where were you working in Tallahassee?
At that time, I would have been working at the FSU Center for Human Rights.
And you were lobbying for anti-human trafficking legislation?
I was primarily representing victims of human trafficking, but I did a little bit of lobbying too.
But the funding for your job ran out and you lost your job, right?
Yeah.
Okay. At the time of the divorce, you had gotten a job at FSU. What was that job?
At the time of the divorce, I was adjunct teaching a few classes at the law school, and I had a number of different jobs at FSU, but by that point I was probably running something called a medical legal partnership, where I would work with the law school, the medical school, and the social work school to help the students work together to try to help solve legal problems that clients had.
Did you like that job?
I did, yeah.
So if you liked the job so much, why were you looking to relocate?
I mean, relocation was not a big issue for me. I probably never would have thought of it. A friend suggested it to me that it might be helpful. Maybe I would get more.
She never thought of relocation.
67.
And you got to put another one because it wasn't important to her.
68. Will we get to 69?
Time with the kids if I could relocate. But I wasn't really focused on it. I didn't think it would happen, and I was pretty happy being at my job.
Now,
I mean,
you were a
she wasn't
non-tenured
focused on it.
clinical
You could,
professor
like,
in that job, right?
That's right.
It meant that you could lose the job at any time. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
And you were you had a lot of responsibilities, now being divorced, even more responsibilities with the kids.
Sure.
And you were offered a job at a prestigious law firm in Miami. Is that fair to say?
I was, yes.
And that job was going to have a pretty big salary increase.
Yes.
And it was going to give you an opportunity for more stability. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Wow, this is really just helping Charlie's defense. I'm glad he's asking all these fucking questions.
Do you remember when we went over this and you went over this with Katie Bogenschutz and she said that the salary increase was like nothing and it wasn't really a salary increase because the cost of living in Miami is so much higher than it is in Tallahassee?
Right. Good call.
You were also going to have the benefit of family
Sure.
in South Florida who could help you with the kids, right?
Yeah.
Now, even with this relocation request, was it ever your intention for Professor Markel to be absent from your boy's life?
Never. No.
Okay. When you lost the relocation motion, I think it's fair to say that your mom and dad were pretty upset.
That's right.
It's fair to say that your mom came up with some crazy ideas.
Totally bonkers. Yes.
Okay. We saw the email about conversion of the kids, right?
Yes.
By the way, did you ever do any of that?
No. No.
So you never dressed the kids up, you never baptized them, you never took a picture of them?
Rauschbaum. Oh, this is like, why? He's looking at the jury like, do you see that point I made for Wendi?
No.
Okay. Did your mom keep bugging you to do any of that stuff?
No, I think it was just one crazy email.
By the way, in all of these emails, did your mom ever tell you to do something violent
No.
to Professor Markel?
No.
Was there ever any discussion of threats of violence in any way?
No, never.
Mr. Rauschbaum, I'm going to let you to ask one more question, and from there, we're going to go into recess for the evening, but your examination of the witness will go into tomorrow.
Have you ever heard of the Profs blog?
Sure.
Remember those questions that Ms. Kappelman asked you about how people could know about Danny traveling on the weekend of his murder? Remember those questions?
I do, yes.
Would it surprise? What is the Profs blog?
It was a blog that Danny started with some friends to talk about the law and legal theories and to kind of have conversations in space with other law professors.
I'm showing you it's marked as Defense Exhibit 2. And this will be quick, Your Honor. I promise.
I was going to say, we went from 1 to 5 real quick.
It'll be quick.
Please show your exhibit to the witness.
From the Profs blog.
It does, yes.
Judge, I admit Defense Exhibit 2 into evidence at this point in time.
Any objection to the state?
I'd like to take a look at it first, Your Honor.
I'll ask it one last question, and then we can.
I have to approach before we handle this round.
I'll ask it one last question, and then we can, if you would, we can handle.
One means one.
One means one. Do you know if Professor Markel would frequently post his travel schedule on his Profs blog?
He would post it on his Profs blog and on his Facebook.
That's my one question, Your Honor.
That's how Tato and Tuto got his schedule.
Recess.
Profs blog.
Profs
All right.
blog and Facebook. They were
Yep.
Facebook friends with Dan Markel.
So that was the end of day one. We have some additional testimony with Wendi, but we'll do that on another day that we rewatch this trial. We had a great crowd today and so much support. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, mods. Really, so much support. I'm going to continue to do this. And if you missed it in the beginning, I'm likely starting a job, not next week, but the week after. So next week, I'm going to do some more longer sessions like this one, where we continue to rewatch as we prepare for Donna's trial. Really, thank you for all the kind words about like my job and stuff. You guys are super supportive. Babe, you have anything to you want to add?
No, I will have the video out shortly.
Oh yes, Babe will have a premiere. We'll whatever it is, we'll let you know. Babe will have a premiere of her second video, which I hope she does a full hour because people
Maybe tomorrow night. I don't know.
So
Oh wait,
Babe,
is that your thing tomorrow night?
No, mine's tonight.
Tonight. Okay.
Babe will have the premiere of her additional chapters of reading Wendi's book, and I'm gonna send you guys again. Bob is covering Tellus trial. Tellus is going to testify today. Even if you don't want to watch, even if you didn't watch the whole trial, you're going to want to watch that. So I'm going to send you guys to that, and then come back if you want at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go through the police report narrative that I have, and Afton with a super chat, $5. Thank you so much, Afton.
Thank you.
I'm going to go through the police report that I have. I'm going to go over what Amy Adler tells the police. I'm going to go over what Rob Adelson tells the police. I am going to share the written statement from the Best Buy guy and go through some of the narrative of the police report. So hope you can join me at 8 p.m. Eastern. For now, I'll look at Charlie's stupid face that I paused on. But for now, I'll send you to Bob's chat, which is going to start, I think, in about an hour. Thanks again, everyone, so much for your support. You guys are the best ever. And hope to catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for joining us, J-Bo Nation. Please give all of yourselves an ovation. No, it won't be real long until next time, J-Bo Nation, there's no place we'd rather be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place